Roderick. Get on him, will you? Oh, good man. You're like a brick wall.
Where there's hurling, there's Centra.
Good afternoon. This may well look familiar to you. The very goal that hosted Liam McCarthy's first ever penalty shootout. And those same shootouts remain very much in play from here on in. We're into full-out knockout hurling from now on. Today, 6 becomes 4.
It's the next stage of the season now, the All-Ireland series, and we know it's all up for grabs now again.
There's question marks over Galway, and that's what's going to make it great.
And there'll certainly be a threat to any team on the day. It's not going to happen overnight, we know that, but we also want success now.
They never looked like throwing in the towel, and that's a good show of character by them.
It's so relentless out there, you just have to be on it the whole time.
There'll be a danger for anyone, I think, in this year's All-Ireland series.
Munster are so competitive that you can never really call who's going to come out of it. We're absolutely delighted, you know, to be in the All-Ireland series.
Kilkenny, they have completed 6 in a row.
You'd love that ball to be thrown in for that semi-final and just that chaos to commence. It's class, it's unreal, but we'll be looking closely to see who will be playing.
Cork have beaten Limerick in their own backyard.
Having a Munster medal is huge, and the focus is for an All-Ireland semi-final. I suppose we'll spend the next 2 weekends watching who we could potentially be playing.
But this is Championship hurling, don't you love it?
The battles to make hurling's final 4 take place across 2 venues. Go against Tipperary at 6:15 is in Limerick, and Limerick against Dublin is in Dublin at 4. So then why do we get the feeling that the visiting county might feel even more at home in Croke Park? It might be the 5 All-Ireland titles claimed here that does it, or the fact that some of the greatest displays in hurling history have been produced by John Kiley's team at this very venue. Then again, their last visit here resulted in their greatest disappointment. It could also be that Dublin's hurlers don't appear to have the same sense of belonging as their footballers when it comes to this historic stadium. Parnell Park is a venue visiting sides tend to be wary of, and that's where the Dubs play their 3 home games in the Leinster Championship this year. And we've added a couple more All-Stars and a couple more All-Irelands to our panel for this All-Ireland quarter-final day. John Connon is alongside Joe and Donal Óg. You're very welcome, John.
Great to be here.
Well, I'm sure it would be even better if you were down there, if you're over in Croke Park, or if you're watching the two of them and hoping to be playing them in an All-Ireland semi-final. It's probably impossible to explain just exactly what didn't go right for Clare this year.
Yeah, look, I suppose it was a disappointing year. We found it hard to get momentum, and look, the margins are so tight now, and especially in the Munster Championship. Look, if we were lucky enough to beat Tipperary, we'd probably been out here today playing against Galway. But yeah, like for example, like Waterford last year, they beat Cork in the first round. They only lost by a point to us above an Ennis, and then it was ourselves and Cork that were in the All-Ireland final. So the margins are so tight to get through the group stages, and but look, we can have no complaints. But yeah, we're just disappointed.
I would imagine there are many Clare fans sitting at home, and probably hurling fans in general, wondering if Mr. John Connon will be back with the Clare panel next year. Will you?
At the moment, I haven't made a decision on it. I'm currently back training hard at my club, back up in the forwards, training hard. Looking forward to a club campaign and hopefully win the county championship with my club. And I'll see how the body is at the end of the year. It's currently feeling good. I'll see if Brian wants me back as well, and make a decision then. But that's more of a decision at the end of the year. But yeah, we'll wait and see.
It's a lot easier up in the forwards, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. A lot more wall-ups though now.
I think that might be a bit of a hint being sent out to Brian Lowe in there. I think given that Patrick Horgan and TJ Reid are making a fool of everybody else at the moment these days, I think Mr. Lowe wouldn't mind having him back.
Yeah, I'd say he'll give it a few months now to recharge the batteries with the club up in the forwards and go back. It'd be great to see you back, obviously, next year. Don't do what I done. When I announced my retirement, I told one
one media outlet, I wasn't retiring. About an hour later, I said I was retiring. So yeah, that's what I done.
Yeah, definitely do not do that, John.
Don't be doing that.
All-Ireland quarter-final day. Joe, it's so strange that we're here. Everything seemed to go bang, 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 and all of a sudden we've only 3 weekends left.
Yeah, it's a strange time. There's different pressures, different psychology for a lot of the teams. Galway are coming in a little bit under pressure, obviously, after losing the Leinster final. Tip coming third, and Munster actually are coming in with a bit of momentum. Because Tipperary are, on a kind of a crest of a wave with the 20s winning and stuff like that. Limerick losing the Munster final, but yet not too much disappointment, I think, at times. Obviously losing a Munster final is obviously tough, and then you have Dublin there as well, who have a shot. They've nothing to lose, really. Nobody's really expecting a man to beat Limerick, but yeah, I think for Limerick it's just get there, do a job and get to a semi-final, because they have bigger fish to fry, I think, in their minds. But it is unusual. It's tough being the third last weekend in the hurling already. It's hard to fathom that at times. And we might go into we will go into a little more detail on whether or not Dublin have a shot in a moment. But the last time you and I were here, Donal, it was quite a good day for you. You were swamped by thousands of Cork people down here. One of the great days in the sporting calendar. We saw that win for Cork. The debate over the refereeing that day and how some people were so strongly in favour of how it was refereed, some people strongly the other way. Does that highlight perhaps some of the issues in this game that so many people adore?
Yeah, look, it was such an entertaining day, right? Maybe it wasn't the greatest Munster final, and maybe there was loads of imperfections, but in terms of entertainment, excitement, commitment, you couldn't ask for more out of the players. But it's been interesting, that conversation over the last while around the pulling and dragging and the refereeing. There's so much actual pulling and dragging going on that a new aspect an aspect that's become more common is actually players are diving now to throw away the ball. So they're trying to get out of that pulling and dragging. That hasn't started today or yesterday. The talk about the spare hand has been there for a long number of years. You can look and see it here. Like when you think about the proposal of throwing the ball from one hand to the other, that the GA, some people seriously considered, how would you do it in that situation? You see Paul Dolan here and Fikra Finnell of Laois, again, the same thing, because of the pulling and dragging, needing to dive and throw away that pass. And here's Cathal McCabe of Kildare passing on to Jack Sheridan. You can debate about the hand pass forever, but because there's been so much talk from the leadership about the hand pass, where's the talk about the use of the spare hand here? Here's TJ Reid. TJ Reid, this was an example of TJ Reid's brilliance. It was a brilliant catch. TJ Reid, what does he want to do there? He wants to score. The reason he's not scoring, but the free's given for steps. And this one, last one here with Billy Ryan, with Pádraig Mahan around her. Billy Ryan makes a brilliant catch again with his bad hand. Okay, he's held down. It's like something you see this man here beside me involved in Colombia over the last couple of weeks. And then, because the focus, for some reason, on improving the rules has been on the hand pass, like, have we forgotten about the rest of the pulling and the dragging and so on? And you might say that, okay, that of course we don't want players throwing balls, but you'd have to wonder, where's the thinking coming from? Who has been sending that message out and ignoring all of the pulling and dragging that we've seen? And every change in the game is not good. One of the beauties about hurling is it's so free-flowing. You can go forward, back, all over. So many skills in the game, and it's beautiful because of that. But I think I saw Nicky English writing a week ago that, yes, the game is in a great place, but we still need to be conscious that we can always make it better, and that's definitely one aspect of it.
But is the tactics lending itself towards that? Like the change in tactics over the last number of years, when we probably started off, the three of us, it was like your backs got the ball, lumped it down the field as far as they could, get it down to the forwards. Whereas now it's your half-back is almost waiting for your cornerback to come running out past them, pop a hand pass, pop another hand pass, get it to the middle of the field and then deliver in. And it's becoming that kind of war zone there, attritional war zone in the middle of the field, where you're getting loads and loads of bodies. You look at the Patrick Horgan one there, where you had Will O'Donoghue, you had David Reedy, number 9, number 15. You wouldn't have seen that 6-7 years ago, whereas now you're seeing maybe 10, 12 defenders back and maybe even leaving maybe 2 guys up front or even 1 guy up front at times, and it's just becoming loads and loads of bodies. So when you actually, Billy Ryan getting back up off the ground there, he can't actually move anywhere because there's lads everywhere.
But your point as well, like your point is valid, obviously, Joe, right? And that the movement has changed a lot.
Yeah.
But it comes back to what type of game do you want? Just because the player's beside you doesn't mean that we should be allowing all of this pulling and dragging, unless that's what the association wants. And it's
John is just going to come in here now.
I suppose when you're you know, there's such an emphasis now on the tackle. You know, even looking at all the stats that you see in the game, it's how many turnovers you can create as a forward. It's not really about the scoring anymore. It's about how hard he works, and the kind of score comes after the later on in the game. You know, even personally coming back from games, I'm sure Joe would be agreed that, you know, still playing, you know, you're battered and bruised from upper body now way more than you would when the hurleys used to hit you along the legs.
And it comes back to that, like in terms of what type of game do we want to? I'm on about the game, right? In terms of that, it's not gridiron that we're playing. Like the people who came up with the rules first day, they decided that the ball must go back into play after 4 steps. They obviously decided they didn't like the idea of a player catching the ball and being allowed to run forever. Just because there's more movement on the field doesn't mean that you have to load that.
No, but we do hear hurling people talk about the need for physicality. I mean, you hear that all the time.
We're not on about physicality at all. There's loads of physicality in the game. I'm specifically on about to try and develop that point, right, that you've asked me to look at, is the amount of the pulling and dragging that's come into the game. Where has that come from? There'll be very less issue with the hand pass and the need to flag some players that are throwing the balls.
But it doesn't have to be one or the other.
If we stop the pulling and dragging.
No, but go back to my point about the tactics-wise. You don't get guys now just lamping the ball and the ball moving fast. It's all this hand-passing game, and it's allowing bodies to come in and get it. It's very hard for referees now to be, if I pull you there like that, or get your hand and stop the hand pass, there'll be frees left, right and centre, and you'll have no...
But it comes back... out that are poor referees.
That's not the point I'm on. I'm on about the point of the game. What type of game do you want to see? So do we want that? Is that the game that we want? And if so, why is the focus so on us releasing the ball? Because I actually think that's not the game, and it's not where it came from. It's not a gridiron game. I guarantee you, if there was more of an emphasis on penalising the pulling and dragging that's come into the game, there'll be a lot more striking. A lot of the reason why, and which is the point I'm making about that, a lot of the reason why, who can throw up the ball and strike it? No one does a fella hanging off you.
Why don't we have a look out for all of these things and the hand passes as our 2 games go on, because we do have 2 matches to get to, including the one in Croke Park, which of course is Limerick against Dublin, and our commentary team there are Brendan Cummins and Darren Maloney. They have team news.
Joanne, thank you very much indeed. Yes, well, let's start with Limerick first of all, because Shane O'Brien is back in the match day 26 for them. His exclusion, when the team was announced was a surprise, but he's back in for Seamus Flanagan. However, there are no surprises at all with the inclusion of current all-star goalkeeper Nicky Quaid. He starts in goal for Limerick today. Dan Morrissey, one of 4 survivors from the last meeting with Dublin in the Championship, which they lost 10 years ago. The half-back line is as formidable as ever, with Kyle Hayes anchoring that line and in superb form as usual. Adam English has had a powerful campaign with 2-11 scored from the middle of the field, and he's still keeping Darragh O'Donovan on the bench. The maestro, that is Captain Cian Lynch, continues to conduct the attack with amazing skill and craft, while Tom Morrissey has scored 18 points in their games to date, but he rarely finishes a game, such as the attacking prowess they have in reserve. Aidan O'Connor retains his place at full forward. David Reedy is another one of those players from the 2015 side, beaten by today's opponents 10 years ago it is. The power on the bench, hard to describe properly. They have game changers everywhere, and if they need impact from their subs, they have lots to choose from, with Shane O'Brien now in there too. So, Brendan Cummins, your thoughts on that Limerick team?
Well, I think it's exactly what you'd expect from John Kiley coming in here. They'll be disappointed after the Munster final, even though they drew it. But I think days like today, and we discussed it before I came on here, it's a real attitude day. They come out here, there's barely a murmur across the crowd, you know what I mean? It's not that red hot intensity in Munster Championship. But today for me as well, around the middle of the field, for me it's a big day for Will O'Donoghue. He hasn't had a huge amount of form as far as I can see in the last couple of matches. So if he can get on a lot more balls today and Limerick can get across the line, it'll serve him well going into the Kilkenny match, the semi-final.
Now, Brendan, you played in All-Ireland quarter-finals here. I read in the Examiner today, Anthony Daly, saying he always found these games awkward. Do you go along with that?
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. You think of the last time that Limerick played, it was in that right-off atmosphere of the Gaelic grounds where everything was so much pressurised, the crowd were on top of you. You come out here now, like I said, and there's barely a clap. So they have to kind of say to themselves, this is a knockout match. It's a psychological thing as much as anything, and they'll know that. And in fairness to them, it's their first time being in this situation as well. For they've 6 times in a row they've won the Munster Championship. It's all new enough for them, but they'll also be delighted there to get an opportunity to play here in Croke Park, get over the line here and come in 2 weeks' time then to play Kilkenny.
Yeah. And I think it's probably fair comment as well, Brendan, to say that Limerick will not take Dublin for granted in any way. The whole setup around them, they're just far too professional to do something like that.
No, there's no doubt about it. And you can't, like, if you think of Dublin, they've done really well throughout the championship. They've gotten to this point in time. So, I mean, in fairness to Limerick, they will respect every opponent. And you have to, because, like, the last thing Limerick want to do is drop off the pace, give Dublin a sniff. This place will start filling up, 10-15 minutes left. All the big football supporters will be coming in, and the last thing Limerick will want is this thing to be on the edge with a few minutes left.
Yeah, for sure. The crowd is small at the moment, but that will increase as the afternoon progresses. The Dublin team now, the big boost for them, the return to the 26 of Donal Burke from the All-Ireland Club champions Na Fianna, but they are missing Conor Donoghue because of suspension. Sean Brennan is the #1 choice in goal for Neil O'Callaghan's team. Dublin have conceded 11 goals in their 6 matches with 2 clean sheets. Conor McHugh will be a familiar name to football fans. He had great success with the Dublin seniors. This year, he was part of the Na Fianna team, which won the Club All-Ireland against Sarsfields of Cork. Chris Crummy has made the centre-back position his own and is hugely important to the way this defence functions. Conor Burke and Brian Hayes bring loads of skill, energy and work rate to the middle of the field as their dynamic partnership continues to flourish. Fergal Whiteley really caught the eye in their win over Kildare last weekend. He's another big game performer in this 15. If Dublin are to win, then they'll need goals. They've scored 3 in each of their last 5 matches, including 3 against Galway and 3 against Kilkenny. Sean Curry and Ronan Hayes have 8 between them and will need to increase their respective tallies if they are to beat Limerick. The Dublin bench has 4 Na Fianna players named. One of them, I mentioned him already, Donal Burke, who's had serious injury trouble this year, but his inclusion is a huge boost for Dublin. Brendan, Dublin are the underdogs. They won't be in the slightest bit bothered about that. How do they go about this? How do they take down Limerick?
Well, I think the energy and the precision of play is going to be vital for Dublin today. The handling errors, the misplaced 30-yard pass. Limerick are a real counter-attack team, so when you give the pass, you have to be brave to follow it, pop off the shoulder. But also at the heart of the defence, and Paddy Smith and Chris Crummy. Chris Crummy's experience is going to be absolutely key today, to know when to push up and to know when to go back and protect his full back line. And of course, you mentioned inside the Limerick 21 with Sean Curry and Ronan Hayes, they have to be a threat, and it must stick when it goes in there. That's easier said than done, as we know, that Limerick full back line. When it goes in, it just has to stick.
Brendan, thanks very much indeed. Joanne, we'll go back to you in Limerick.
Yeah, from glorious sunshine in Croke Park to glorious sunshine here in Limerick. Speaking of Limerick, John, technically you could say they're the away team. It doesn't feel like that in any way, does it?
No, look, I suppose the last 2 weeks would have been weird for them, I suppose, after all their success in Munster finals. And you know, but look, I suppose they wouldn't have done a lot over the 2 weeks. Just rest up, get on top of their different issues that they had in the Munster final, and be ready for road for today. But look, what an opportunity to be playing in Croke Park before an All-Ireland semi-final. So they'll be delighted that it's on there.
Few people giving Dublin a chance. If they are to win, how do you think they go at it?
I've seen a bit of a pattern with them this year compared to other years, and it's that direct route from puck-outs, from frees. Now, John Heatherton has been playing for most of it, and they've actually gone to him, so I'm surprised that he's not actually playing today as well. But like the likes of Keane O'Sullivan, Fergal Whiteley, Ree McBride, like these guys run off then and get the scores either side. But Eddie Gibbons here is, again, like, it really worked successfully for them against Kilkenny, and then against Galway it actually didn't in the first half. But when you have a guy, the likes, other teams are doing it, Brian Hayes with Cork, Peter Duggan, Shane O'Donnell with yourselves, John, Hegarty with Limerick. We listened to Owen Murphy say when he's under pressure with Kilkenny to go long to TJ Reid with the puck outs, and they were doing it in the last couple of matches. So maybe Ronan Hayes is the guy that'll be under the dropping ball. They might run it a little bit more. They've more pace in their attack now than they've had in previous games, so they might actually try and run at this Limerick defence. as Brendan was saying there, they have to be on point 100%. No drop balls. Everything needs to go right for them today to get a result.
The problem is, well, there are many problems, but we saw Limerick here a couple of weeks ago and they probably weren't at 100%. Sure, they weren't.
There were definitely some parts of the game that weren't what we've seen as typical of Limerick over the last number of years, and extra time really highlighted that. Like looking at these examples, Hagerty not under pressure, you put your house on him scoring from there. Again, you see Barry Murphy. Was that the right decision? He was probably in a bad field position. You'd Shane O'Brien 1-on-1 against Damien Cahallan's side. Then you see Kyle Hayes straight in front of the goals. Not a bad distance out. Hits a wide, so unusual. Then Gillan mentioned putting your house on people to get scores when the pressure's on. Hits an unusual wide. Moving that on. English, again, none of these were under pressure. Look at the space that he had. Like, if you put most of those guys out there 9 out of 10 times, more than that nearly, they'd be scoring from there. You look at Kinnerk inside in the square here. This was near the end of the game. Cathal O'Neill, English was on for the pass there. That was the pass. And again, you see, look at Hayes here telling O'Neill to run. Twisting onto your right-hand side is a difficult one there. And you look at the numbers on that period of extra time. Limerick versus Cork, 7 versus 1. Now, John Kiley was probably a bit harsh on Cork by saying that Cork got such a rub of the green in the extra time, because he'll know over the last number of years it's all that's in your own control and everybody needs a break every now and again. But you can be guaranteed over the last couple of weeks since the Munster final that they'll be absolutely focused on the different result that would have been here if they were more like Limerick over the last while.
OK, plenty more to come in our build-up. And if Dublin and Limerick in a championship feels unfamiliar to you, it's because it is. This is the first meeting in 10 years.
An absolutely enormous game for both of these teams.
We are together, I must not be weak. And give us your strength, world, and your food and your water. Oh,
but Breen has it, and Breen scores! It's 2 against 3. Dotsie O'Callaghan buries it! A wonderful game, a great contest. This game is in the melting pot, as they say, and any team can win it. Paul Ryan, is this on its way over the bar? It is, and Dublin beat Limerick by a point. A stunning match, and a stunning performance.
There's hope in the air, there's hope in the water.
Oh, this match had absolutely everything.
Ayr, proud sponsors of the GAA Hurling All-Ireland Senior Championship.
Get ready for one of the most thrilling weekends in Irish horse racing, climaxing with one of the world's most prestigious races. The 160th running of the Irish Derby takes centre stage at Flat Racing HQ. Witness the excitement as some of the world's top horses and jockeys compete for racing glory.
And Los Angeles turns the tide, and Los Angeles wins the Derby.
Racing from the Curragh, next Saturday at 1:30 on RTE2 and RTE Player.
At 123.ie, we have one of the best car insurance policies with more benefits included as standard.
Don't you forget about me.
So, you can forget about us and remember the more important things. 123.ie. Give better a try.
I don't know, Dad. I've just been away from it for too long.
You'll be grand, love. Now, on your bike. Just like our mammy.
Every connection counts. That's why Ireland can count on our network. Vodafone. Together we can.
Allergies? With Telfast Allergy, they won't stop me. For fast-acting 24-hour relief, take Telfast Allergy. From pharmacies nationwide.
Blurry. Never square.
School shoes already. What's next?
I don't know.
Well, she's definitely going to be the best student in her class. What if she gets really into sport? Maybe not that into sport. Then there's marriage. That could be a big one. And what if I'm not around? And what if...
I know. Maybe we should concentrate on the shoes.
For 80 years, we've been helping people embrace life's changes. For health, life, pensions and investments, a better life with Irish Life.
I'm such a chill customer. I get 14 insurers compared for me every year.
I'm such a chill customer. I don't mind when my mother-in-law compares me to John's ex.
That's life. That's life. And as funny as it may seem, some people get their kids stomping on a dream, but I don't let it get me down.
Pineapple for the pizza.
No.
Why not?
Because it's wrong.
It feels like a joke.
Why
to
is
just
choice such a threat? I don't know how we're going to solve it because...
You don't do pineapple.
Get me the pineapple! Question on everyone's mind is the whole issue of pineapple on pizza.
It's the best thing ever.
Pineapple on pizza is disgusting.
Pineapple on your pizza. I'm talking about
Get great value with Club Card prices and Aldi price match, even on pineapples.
Can't argue with that.
New Senstein Clinical Repair is absolutely the one I would use. It starts to work within 2 minutes from the very first brush to create an actual layer which helps to repair the sensitive part of the tooth. Iced coffee, ice cream, lots of things could be back on the menu. I really would recommend Senstein Clinical Repair.
It's all heating up now.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Two captains in for the coin toss. It just happened to be the centre forward for Limerick, the centre back for Dublin. So John Conlon, we heard Brendan Cummins wondering there, first victory to Chris Crummy by the looks of things, whether Chris Crummy would sit back, whether he'd follow Cian Lynch about the place. You're obviously centre back. You've come up against that same man. What way do you expect Crummy will do it?
It's hard to know now. It's like they usually like to try and sit back Dublin, but you know, it's a big predicament for a lot of teams these days against Limerick. If you leave their half forward line off, they'll play the ball around you and spray points from out the field or get inside and create goal scoring opportunities like Cork here against Cork in the round robin game. I was in here and they just annihilated the Cork half-back line, but then Cork came out in the Munster final and were totally aggressive and in their faces, and really took on that half-back line and made the middle third a minefield. And it's a predicament for Chris Crummy today, especially at 6, because he has to try and protect his full back line, but also try and get out and curtail Cian Lynch.
Is that something you would have talked about with Clare? Like, obviously meeting Limerick so much over the last few years, was it we all press, or do we at times, or do you sit off at different times, or like go man for man in the backs, or how did you kind of approach it, or was it different days, different
yeah, it was
scenarios?
something that worked for us, that we felt that when we went man for man, it was fairly easy. At 15, that's your man, you go after him, and sometimes often find when you're playing that zonal defence or you're playing that half back line, a lot of handoffs and different things like that. So sometimes it's nearly easier to just go man for man and you look after your man and play 15 on 15, but defend the goals as much as possible.
Because the handoffs when you're out in the field, it's very hard to communicate and listen or hear somebody saying, here, get my man or get this man.
Yeah, and especially as they go further, like today, I suppose the crowds won't be as much, but like going into semi-finals and finals, you're on your own. There's very little the management can do from the sideline, so you have to make decisions on the field.
That's just one of the things that's going to be so interesting to watch in this game. Agus most me and live to Trochtach le Fáil Oscaige le Cahalmore Agus Cluno Florida an RT player Agus an RT News Channel ag Pork on Croke freshen though for us Brendan Agus Dara.
Joanne, thank you very much indeed. Yes, it's just the most gorgeous afternoon here in Croke Park. The temperature down at pitch level is high. It is very high, and it'll be even warmer with the lads, of course, with the helmets on today. The wind, the breeze, difficult to judge, as it always is here. We reckon that it's blowing from left to right, as you will be looking at it in the first half, down to the junction of the Davin stand and the Hogan stand, if you can visualise that. So left to right as you see the two teams take up their positions before the throw-in. The crowd, well, people are still coming in to Croke Park. The pitch, I was down there beforehand, it's absolutely immaculate. There's Liam Gordon from Galway, very experienced referee, but this is his first All-Ireland senior quarter-final. So we are just about ready to go. A place in the semi-final is the prize. It's their first meeting in 10 years. Dublin have actually won the last 2 games against Limerick. And we are underway. And Dublin on the attack straight away. Conor Burke and Brian Hayes, they're all action midfield. That was Conor Burke, the Vincent's man. And now from way out the field, that's Cian O'Sullivan, and he's dropped it into the left hand of Nicky Quaid. Quaid shortens the stick and finds Kyle Hayes. Cian Lynch, the Limerick captain. Adam English has had quite a year. He made his debut for Limerick back in 2023. There's Diarmuid Burns, and they angle that ball across. You'll see that an awful lot today, and that's a good take by David Reedy. Reedy managed to hang on to it. Gallan's shot is blocked down. The referee, though, was playing an advantage, and Aaron Gallan will get his first shot at the post inside the opening minute.
Yeah, that's a conundrum every team has when they play against Limerick. That's why Cork and Clare over the years have been their kryptonite. They just push up. They don't leave them tippy-tappy the ball around like that. And once they get to put their head up, get in front of Reedy and the boys inside, they'll make it stick. They'll try to take on their man and win frees like that. Just initially as well there, Conor Burke had stepped back to take up Chris Crummey's position as Limerick were attacking, and that's why Limerick had the extra man. They're going to be very clever. They won't just hit it in on top of him. They'll move it through the extra body.
There's a beautiful view of what Aaron Gallan is faced with. 232 he scored in this year's championship, and you can add another point to that, can you? I have to say my initial reaction to that was that it was wide. We're going to use Hawkeye.
Yeah, I think it's wide, all right. Look, yeah. They just might have clipped the post on the way wide. In fairness to the umpire down there, when his head is up in the air, there's no shadow over his eyes. It's difficult down in that end, as I know from playing the goals down there. The sun is tricky.
That's wide. Brendan Evgeny Tipex, I'd written that down.
Yeah, well, it's the one for Aaron Gallan. He just needs to focus now. It's things like this that need to be right for Limerick.
So the Coola goalkeeper, Sean Brennan, launches that very long. Some felt they overdid the long ball against Galway. That was a great take. I think it was Burns who got his hand on that. Kyle Hayes. Dublin need to try and keep the ball away from him. Many teams have tried. It's not that easy. David Reedy to Tom Morrissey. 18 points he scored. Morrissey always good for 4 or 5. There's the first effort, and there's the opening score of the game for Tom Morrissey. That's really good from way out there. Limerick lead.
Yeah, good strike from Morrissey there against the breeze. Again, they have that extra man in the middle. Burke is the man who's trying to sit back as best he can. Here's Crummey.
Chris Crummey, that's a great take from Chris Crummey. The Dublin captain from Lucan Sarsfield steadies down, takes the shot and gets the point. And that'll work for them if they could do that, repeated many, many times. Great catch from Crummey.
It is great experience from Crummey too to go up the pitch and do that. He knew something needed to happen.
Garrod Hegarty. David Reedy running onto this, and he's taken Andrew Dunphy with him, the St. Bridget's man. They go across the field to Tom Morrissey. Managed to get the stick to that, but the retreating Chris Crummey got in his way. Oh, Morrissey got that one wrong. It was a bit too casual. Paddy Doyle from Nave Barogue on the north side of Dublin. That's a loose pass. Sean Curry came to close down. Limerick exerting big pressure on the Dublin player, trying to take control of the ball. Paddy Doyle spinning away, and look at the Limerick players around him. Cian Lynch couldn't get that under control. You don't say those words very often in the same sentence. And here's Adam English. Conor McHugh was there with him, and Dublin managed to turn the ball over. That's a frantic passage of play, and Dublin showed great determination just to stick at the task. So on the way, and Cian O'Sullivan shooting. Seen him score from there before, but not on that occasion. So the pace of the game is high. Garrod Hegarty. Dublin just not tight enough to Garrod Hegarty. You can hear Sean Brennan calling it wide, but the umpire does not agree. Limerick by 2-1.
Again, Nicky Quaid there. When the ball goes wide, he's allowed to hit the ball out as quick as he can. I saw Hegarty put it in over his head, lovely.
So that's another huge puck out, and again Dublin get a player free between those two lines. Well, that has worked well for them. Rian McBride was the Dublin man on the ground, another St. Vincent's player. And arm wrestle for possession, and McBride comes out with it. He sent that on its way, Rian McBride, and he was involved at the start of that move and right at the end, and he again showed brilliant determination just to keep at it.
Yeah, he did this, the ball, the flick inside. Nearly got inside, actually, Diarmuid Burns. Burns recovered well.
Limerick getting the ball back in play so quickly. Aidan O'Connor. O'Connor, casual. A little bit too casual. Wide.
Yeah, Limerick haven't really gotten to that edge that we would have expected. A few wides now.
So Dublin can get the puck out away short. Paddy Doyle. Third season in the Dublin team. That's a nice little flick from Cian O'Sullivan. But Sean Finn has been around the block a few times and just stuck with him. OK, it's a Dublin line ball, but there was no run at goal from Cian O'Sullivan, and he is very quick.
He is, and I know it's only the early stages here, but Dublin have brought a great intensity in the first 6 minutes or so. They're definitely trying to win the row around the, we call that dirty ball. You saw it in the passage of play 4 or 5 minutes ago when they were able to break up the Limerick attack and get a free out.
Sean Curry. Dermot O'Dooling made a run away from him, and maybe that's where the ball should have gone. Easy to say from up here and be wise after the fact. Adam English of Limerick. So there's a huge amount of space, and nobody in a green Limerick jersey there. And this is from Conor Burke way out the field, and it's just shooting practice for him. But the ball was pucked out of the Limerick defence, and Burke was all on his own, and this is the end result.
Yeah, Burke is sitting there, and I just see Crummy below us. He's picking up Hegarty. Everywhere Hegarty goes, Crummy's marking him man for man. Burke is the man who's sitting back playing at 6.
Dublin doing well. That was Paddy Smith from Clontarf. Owen O'Donnell was the Dublin fullback for many years. He's gone in with the football team. Again, this is from a long way out. That is wide, though, on that particular occasion. Fergal Whiteley. So, Nicky Quaid for Cian Lynch. That's Conor McHugh with him. That's going to be a big physical battle between the two of them. And Cian Lynch, well, he stopped before the referee blew the whistle, but the foul was there and called by Liam Gordon eventually.
Yeah, it was. And this is Lynch's superpower down to the ground. We've seen it all through the Munster Championship. Gets the ball in his hand where others would think they'd have to flick it out to one side and just drop the hurley and say, we'll take a free. But again, for a man's experience now as number 13 there for Limerick, Aaron Gallan, this is a big free into the Hill 16 end, just to get his confidence going as much as anything else.
Missed inside the first minute. A few little whistles won't put him off, and that's a much better strike from Aaron Gallan, and no better man to restore his own confidence.
Yeah, the folks is back. You'd hear the noise of it off the hurley, a sweet strike. John Kyle will be happy enough to see his ace sharpshooter now getting a bit of confidence through the veins from a free like that.
Again, it goes very long from Sean Brennan, and it's just a battle in the air. Dublin again competitive on the ground and in the air, but that wasn't good enough, particularly with Cian Lynch about. Tom Morrissey, the pass seemed on the edge as usual, but anyway, here goes Tom Morrissey. Drills it down for Aaron Gallan. It's straight down, and he's out in front of Paddy Smith. Gallan can't hold on, but Aidan O'Connor can. O'Connor makes space for himself so well, and right down the middle, he should score and does score. First point for him, player in his second year on this team, and he continues to make a massive impression.
He has. That's a great score from Aidan O'Connor. Gallan was out in front, and he picked up the pieces behind him. Be great for the young man's confidence as well.
Limerick by 4-3. Sean Curry. Again, look at the way he's surrounded by 4 Limerick players. There have to be Dublin players free. Chris Crummy should have scored.
Yeah, I should have spoken about it before the game there as well. And the ball goes wide, then Limerick are away quickly, but that's 2 long-range shots now. Dublin have hit wide.
Lynch put up the right hand. Oh, what a wonderful bit of skill to pick up the ball. Here's Adam English. Dublin just not tight enough on him, and English, beautiful strike right through it, open the shoulders, point. That was comfortable.
It was always a conundrum. You see 4 jerseys to the right here, shot there on Cian Lynch. So somebody has to be free somewhere, and of course it's Adam English.
So Limerick have got the last 3 points in the game. Dan Morrissey with Cian O'Sullivan. Brilliant from Barry Nash from South Liberties. Cian Lynch. So McHugh is marking him from behind. Lynch getting out in front. Aaron Gallan, what a catch from Gallan. And he's been fouled several times. Gallan wants to keep going, does go, gets the point. Brilliant. Several wonderful bits of skill here.
It is a great catch from Gallan there, and in fairness, the Dublin defender did well not to pull him down. He just kept him upright as he was tugging him back. Gallan finished it, but again, it all coming from Cian Lynch.
They've opened up a 3-point lead in the space of 3 minutes. Conor McHugh. Crummy kept that low. Now here is Chris Crummy. Sean Curry. Now Fergal Whiteley is to his left. Curry gets it to Whiteley. Had to work to really bring it under control. And the shot from Cian O'Sullivan is blocked away by Dan Morrissey. Barry Nash picks up the loose ball. There was an opening there for Dublin. Maybe they overplayed it a bit. Cian Lynch, another possession for him. As you can see, Conor McHugh is very sticky. Ball turned over. Dublin defence did well. This is from Conor Burke from way out the field, and if they can get him the ball in those kind of positions, not under a huge amount of pressure, 9 times out of 10 he will score.
He will, and that's exactly the opportunity Dublin will have now. Whatever bit of a breeze is to their backs, they need to, when they get a chance to plant their feet like this, to have that composure. It's a great strike. They'll get plenty of those chances in there with Limerick. They're sitting back and leaving the gaps in the middle third.
Nicky Quaid delayed a little when he was waiting for David Reedy to make his move, and it was well worth doing from David Reedy. This is going to drop short, way short, and there's a huge amount of space for Adam English. English perhaps could have taken that on. He was been marked well enough, gets the point instead.
Conor Burke didn't want to push up because he knew there were 2v2 inside. I think the ball took a slight deflection here and held up a bit in the breeze. Sat lovely for Adam English.
Conor McHugh, he is an option for those shorter puck-outs. Brian Hayes from Kilmacud Crokes. Ronan is on the bench. Ronan is full forward, actually, and now it's come out to Sean Curry, and Curry scores. But Brian Hayes, great energy. He's very quick and direct.
Well, that's what I need to do in that middle third there, as you get the ball, try to take on your man, create a space. It's a good finish.
That's brilliant from Chris Crummy. Remember how Liam Rush used to dominate that number 6 position. Crummy has made it his own. And it was shoot on sight.
There's been a free in there.
Free in, yeah. Hill 16 is filling up. Footballers, the Dublin footballers in action later against Cork.
To be fair too to the Dublin players down there, they've done really, really well so far. They've had a couple of wides from long range, which can sometimes, you said, to start be a differentiator. There should be a couple of more at least on the scoreboard. If they can tap this one over, certainly give the blue wall above in Hill 16 something more to shout about.
Dublin at the moment at 50% in their score to shot ratio. Sean Curry. The wind is helping him. All about the strike. And the strike was just off.
It's very frustrating. Wasn't even hit that well.
That puck out easily found Garrod Hegarty, and Hegarty's gone down, and Chris Crummy is pleading his innocence.
He is. It's one of those awkward ones. Chris Crummy's worried now at this point in time. Liam Gordon's gone in to check to see the extent of the injury. Is it a head injury? See him coming in here. The elbow's out from Chris Crummy, all right. See coming out there, it's going to be heart and mouth stuff for Chris Crummey here now. If the referee sees that elbow outside the line of his body, it's going to be red for Chris Crummey.
So the notebook out. Chris Crummey is deep in conversation, and it's a straight red card for Chris Crummey. And Brendan, I think when you saw that replay, that was your feeling that that was coming.
Yeah, just looking from the ref's point of view down there, he could see the elbow clearly coming out. Now, we'll all say Chris Crummey's not a dirty player, we'll go through all that, and that's fine. But in that one moment in time, the referee saw an extension of the elbow out, which was enough, and made contact to the side of Gearóid Hegarty's head. And that's why I suppose that Liam Gordon has made that decision. See here now, you see the elbow as he comes through. It's way outside the line of his body. If you have your elbow tucked in going there, you hit him with the shoulder even, there's an argument. It's just a point of the elbow. It's just so hard look on Chris Crummey. He felt, I've lined him up here, I go to get a smack on him. Hegarty takes a step the wrong way, stick out the elbow instinctively. And unfortunately, it's hard look on Chris Crummey, but I think the referee's made an okay call there.
So Gearóid Hegarty's left the field of play. Cathal O'Neill is going to come in temporarily. They will just have to assess Hegarty's fitness to continue. Diarmuid Burns is lining up this free for Limerick, and it's on the way, and he's missed that. He took that one well wide, and Dublin have to frantically try and reorganise things. Numerical disadvantage against, well, most teams. It's not a good idea, certainly against this Limerick team with the sort of mood you expect them to be in today. We've seen glimpses of it. Now, Tom Morrissey involved over there with Paddy Doyle, and the notebook is out. What's your feeling on this? It's yellow.
Chest. You see him coming out with the ball here, Morrissey. Yeah, it's high. It's a yellow card though. There's a high drag down, okay.
Brian Hayes. Dublin's task just got considerably harder. Ian McBride, Andrew Dunphy. The crowd getting very involved in this. This is Conor McHugh. Didn't catch that at all well, but Andrew Dunphy is down on the ground, so we're going to go back for a free in.
Yeah, it gives Dublin a small bit of heart, I suppose, in the last 30 seconds or so, and they do get the chance to get in. Again, it's just a drag back from Hegarty. These frees now, Dara, just have to go over the bar. With the breeze, just get used to it. We know up here there's a swirling breeze always down there. We've seen Aaron Gillan had missed a free earlier there as well. It's not the simplest thing in the world, but if you're going to be keeping up to this Limerick team, these opportunities must go over the bar.
We just saw that shot of Neil O'Callaghan. Is he going to bring David Lucy in? That was the Dublin player warming up beside him. Sean Curry. Central position. The odds are stacked against them, particularly after Crummey's red card, but they're back to within 1 point.
Good strike. And also means Nicky Quaid couldn't get the puck out of the way quickly, so it gives the defenders a chance to get man for man.
Gearóid Hegarty left it after him. Conor McHugh in a more advanced position. He's not marking Aaron Gillan anymore. Sean Curry from Nefin, and that's brilliant. And they out in front of his marker, just skids on the turf. Eight-7 Limerick.
There's Gillan making a run inside now. It's going to be harder for Conor Burke to try to sit back. They have to go man for man. You can see it all inside the 45 there. Cian Lynch just potted that, lovely.
Taddy Smith. Yeah, the sweeper's gone as they're down to 14. Ronan Hayes was winding up for that jersey. Pulled, spotted by referee Liam Gordon against Sean Finn.
He's a great guy like that to be hitting the ball down on top of, especially if you can get the match up with Sean Finn. You can see Finn, he's got a fair hold of the jersey there, there's no doubt about it. But they're the matchups that Dublin will be looking for now. Dan Morrissey looks like he's trying to be the spare in there, which means Hayes can drift onto one of the smaller in stature cornerbacks.
Sean Curry. Nothing is easy on this stage, at this stage. And Sean Curry, very reliable. Like any other day, if he'd been fit, Donald Burke would be the free taker, but Sean Curry has been brilliant. His clubmate, ball back in play. So the big talking point, the major talking point from the first 20 minutes, the red card for Chris Crummy of Dublin. Cian O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's shot on the way, that looks very good. And that's the point of the match so far from Cian O'Sullivan. Brilliant strike. And they lead by 9 points to 8. They're more than holding their own, and they've dug in again and responded. There's another Limerick player down, injured. The referee has called a halt. It is Tom Morrissey. The ball was back in place so quickly.
Well, it seems like a hand injury down there for Morrissey. The Dublin Belch argument is that you don't stop the play unless it's a head injury. But obviously Liam Gordon feels it's a serious enough one. There's one hand that crashed into him. Yeah, that's why he's given it. He felt that Morrissey might have got it into the head, the referee, and that's why he had to stop the play. But Dublin have a bit of momentum here, John Kiley. While Morrissey's getting his win down, they will be happy enough in a lot of ways to take a breath.
So, Tom Morrissey, I think, will be okay to continue.
It just looks like he's obviously winded down there. Slaps like that.
Or two.
But again, if Dublin can steady up there around that middle third of the pitch, Limerick are giving you opportunities from 60, 65 yards, even with the extra man to have a goal.
On the puckouts, Dublin have only lost one of their own, and they've won 4 of the Limerick puckouts. So I'm not sure if Tom Morrissey's going to be able to continue, actually. Now, we mentioned about their bench and all the superstar names that are there.
Cathal O'Neill certainly is the bib off there, and looks like he's coming in from Tom Morrissey. Got a fair shot. It looks like he's winded all right. It might take him a couple of minutes to gather himself, I suppose.
So Sean Brennan has come up to launch this, and he's launched it too far, hasn't he? It's been called as a wide ball.
There's an indirect free. Should be doing better with that now. No doubt about it. Hitting an indirect free wide like that gives Nicky Quaid a chance to try to go quickly, but his defenders were inside the 21 again. They struck the ball.
So Tom Morrissey wanted to come back on, actually, more or less straight away. So they're happy that he's able to continue. So Conor McHugh seemed to be more concerned about the positioning of Cathal O'Neill than where the ball was. There's Barry Nash, and that is glorious. We were right behind that, and it just looked spectacular from Barry Nash.
Oh, it was a perfect strike from Nash. Again, inside, Aidan O'Connor did really well to get the pass back out. How many times have you seen that when he was playing cornerback? Now wing back is just even more of a scoring threat.
Since the red card, Dublin have outscored Limerick by 4 points to 2. Who'd have thought that? You can see the speed of Brian Hayes, and Adam English is quick too, and Hayes is still going. The Kilmacud Crokes man looking for options on the 20. Went for the brother Ronan, the ball runs away. Barry Nash gets on the end of it, and Dan Morrissey helps him solve that particular problem, aided by Diarmuid Burns. Again, the angled ball across the field. What a catch that is by David Reedy, and off they go. Hegarty available to his left. Garrod Hegarty turns back around, and he's drawn that in beautifully, and that is just a brilliant score from start to finish. The way they defended, worked the ball up the field, you know the rest.
Yeah, it's a great score. Reid did really well to pass the ball back to Hegarty. Dublin are away quickly.
They sure are. Limerick leading by 10 points to 9. Fergal Whiteley, another Kilmacud Croke's man. Whiteley under no pressure. And if Limerick continue to give him that space, he'll do that time after time.
Well, another one of those cases. See Limerick there, he's got in between. Morrissey wasn't able to get back. Normally Morrissey comes back and fills that spot. He took the opportunity well.
The teams have been level 7 times. Mike Casey. Aidan O'Connor with the run out. John Bellew went with him, the Lucan man, and he's given him too much space, but O'Connor makes space for himself so well. Really will feel he should have done better there. 4 wides they've hit. Sean Brennan just sizing up the options. There were plenty of short options, but long, they may as well go for it. Rian McBride, Ronan Hayes in there. Adam English came out with the ball. Diarmuid Burns is there with him, gets away from Brian Hayes. Tom Morrissey fully recovered. Sean Finn didn't want to shoot. It's another run from Aidan O'Connor out wide, bringing John Bellew with him, almost in the same position. Missed the last effort. Bellew, great block down. That'll do his confidence the world of good. And out come Dublin with Conor Burke, Paddy Doyle. You wouldn't think they're playing with a man less, Dublin, but there was an issue there because Cian O'Sullivan was the furthest forward and there were 3 Limerick players around 1 Dublin man. Great catch from Paddy Doyle. Some of these players playing some of their best games in a Dublin shirt. And there is Ronan Hayes, and that's absolutely superb. He's a guy with the eye for goal, but if you give him the ball in these areas, he'll score time after time. Doyle was brilliant.
Yeah, well done from Doyle, but not just the catch, but to be smart enough to play that clever pass down the line, keep it nice and simple. He got the opportunity to get the shot away.
Dublin by 11 points to 10. Oh, that's wonderful from Conor McHugh. When he played under 21 football and senior football, he was a forward, and a real dynamic forward at that. Thought he was going to have a shot. Instead, it's Cian O'Sullivan from the sideline. That's dropping short into the left hand, and Nicky Quaid. Hello. Oh, Quaid stayed really calm. Kyle Hayes. Hayes. They switch it again. Aaron Gallant travelled a lot of metres to get on the end of that, but Dublin have turned the ball over. Rian McBride. The Dublin work rate, something to behold, because they are all working really, really hard. Paddy Smith on the way, that will drop short. Cian O'Sullivan in after it. It comes straight back out to Kyle Hayes. Shortens the stick, and here come Limerick. Gearóid Hegarty juggled with it. Now Tom Morrissey in a lot of space. Paddy Doyle standing off him, and you can't do that with Tom Morrissey. Well, you know, he could there, Paddy Doyle. That is an uncharacteristic miss from Tom Morrissey. Maybe still a bit shaken. 28th minute. 14-man Dublin lead Limerick by 1. Again, they go long, and that's come straight back out. Well, no, it hasn't. Fergal Whiteley. There's that work rate again, and Whiteley did the hard stuff, couldn't apply the finish.
Yeah, it's hard enough from Whiteley there, but good intensity again from Dublin. They're moving the ball really well, creating opportunities. You can see up the pitch there that Nicky Quaid doesn't have a huge amount of targets to hit, only someone on the 21 free here.
That's Sean Finn. Gearóid Hegarty. Paddy Doyle just jabbed the stick towards the ball, but Hegarty's got it. And then decides to belt it in towards Gallant. The left hand goes up. Paddy Smith was there. Smith has lost the stick. Here's his audition for the football team. Mightn't be able to play with them today. They defended that extremely well. Sean Brennan. Lovely angle ball to Sean Curry. Had him on the right side of Morrissey. Now it's Ronan Hayes, and Hayes was brought down by Barry Nash. Free in. The ball has gone between the posts, and the referee says I was playing an advantage. No point going back for the free. That's 2 screamers for Ronan Hayes.
Yeah, he's done really, really well. He's operating there around the 45. And again, he knew he had the advantage, but still had super composure to split the post.
7-3, Dublin outscored Limerick since the red card. That's kept low by David Reedy. For Aidan O'Connor, Conor Burke, he's having a superb game. You say it again, and I know, look, we're in the 30th minute of the first half, but Dublin are not playing like a team down a man. Here's Paddy Doyle.
Yeah, it's interesting as well for Limerick. I'm just watching the background there. They haven't designated a spare man at the back. They're changing the roles. It's Kyle Hayes 1 minute, Sean Finn the next, and what's happening in the background is they're passing lads on, and Dublin are allowed to play through the Limerick 65 because of that. So Limerick do need, in a lot of ways, Kylie has a decision to make down there. When you have a spare man, somebody's assigned to that task. Everybody else marks. At the moment, if you pass them on, it's giving Dublin a bit of a foothold around the middle of the pitch.
So, Neil O'Callaghan, the Dublin manager, having a word with the linesman down here. It's Michael Kennedy. Sorry, Brendan, go.
And just, I'll come back to him in a second.
Yeah, no bother. That's up towards Cian O'Sullivan, Rian McBride. Mike Casey is the Limerick number 4. McBride has got it again. They are outworking Limerick. There's no question about that. Shot on the way. That's wide, number 7. Now, they could regret those. They will regret those, you would think. But not a lot of the first 30.5 minutes of this game has gone according to the way we would have thought. The Chris Crummy red card really threw the cat amongst the pigeons. There's another Dublin back out in front of a Limerick forward. Sean Curry, he's got pace. He had Barry Nash in front of him. The little break's going their way. Conor Burke just swats Adam English out of the way. He's been superb as well. Brilliant stuff.
Here to Conor Burke, when he does get a chance to swing the hurley like that, more often than not it's going over the bar. You can see it there, an unbelievable strike, real confidence. That was struck the way Dublin are playing at the moment with huge belief.
That's 4 points without reply for Dublin. Tom Morrissey helps that on to Aidan O'Connor. The crowd in Croke Park continuing to grow. And here goes John Bellew. Bellew, that is going to drop just short of the end line and then out over the top of it. Bellew didn't mean to do that. Maybe the adrenaline surge, a bit too much into it. Nicky Quaid, the ball back in play. Cian Lynch, we haven't mentioned his name in a while, and Lynch can't get the ball off Fergal Whiteley. Sean Curry, here they come again. Brian Hayes, stopped on a sixpence. Now, the referee taking advantage. The challenge from Barry Nash. The Dublin supporters did not like it. The ball has gone wide. We go back for the free. But the crowd getting more involved in this game as every minute passes.
Yeah, Aaron Nash is going to get booked for this one. It's just careless use of the hurley, the side of the head. See it there? That's the flick inside there. Liam Gordon's over, and yes, Nash gets the yellow card, but another chance now for Curry to extend Dublin's lead here to 4.
Limerick haven't scored in 8 minutes.
Yeah, they haven't been able to get the ball up the pitch. At the moment, it's Sean Finn that's doing the spare man role down there. You'd nearly wonder is they better off having Nash doing it because he'll have more adventure going forward to help him punch through the middle third of the pitch. Gallan and O'Connor are up the other end of the pitch, man for man inside, but he just can't get the ball into them. Dublin have had huge, ferocious work rate around the middle third.
So Sean Curry again. Dermot O'Dooling, the Dublin corner forward, was actually in his eye line and just had to walk to his right a bit. Was inadvertently putting his teammate off. So that's for a 4-point lead. Who'd have thought it? Now look, there's such a long way to go. Dublin are a man down and 4 points up against Limerick. 2 minutes to go. Catch from Conor McHugh. Tom Morrissey, his marker. And McHugh, well, with a football, he knows what to do in advanced positions. And that one has gone over the bar as well, just about. They now lead by 5. Rian McBride.
Yeah, 3 shades. Look at the bottom right of your screen, number 3 there. That's Dan Morrissey. He's the spare man. He's sitting on his own 21. So essentially, Limerick have no one-man advantage out around the pitch because their spare man is sitting so far back close to his own goals. Dublin are just taking advantage of this, coming up the field in waves.
Now, Sean Curry. Here is Brian Hayes. Dublin continue to pour forward, continue to get shots away. That's kind of a Limerick approach at times, just shoot on sight, and the more you shoot, the more you'll score. They have hit some bad wides. That one was ambitious, 8 of them now in total. Here's Dan Morrissey with a big clearance forward. Limerick haven't scored since the 24th minute, and Dublin continuing to work ridiculously hard. This is Tom Morrissey, the shot on its way, and Morrissey brings an end to that barren spell and brings them back to within 4. So we're going to come back.
Yeah, the puck out went too quickly. The whistle hadn't been blown. Liam Gordon was recording the score from Morrissey. That's what Dublin need to do though here, Darren. Need to keep the tempo of the game up as much as they can, get the most out of this, the elements that they have. Now, it's not exactly a 7 or 8 point breeze here either.
Ball back in play. There's Kyle Hayes. Well, that will give them some inspiration. That's his first big catch of the day. Aaron Gillan ended up on the ground. A lot of space for Aidan O'Connor. They can finish the half with a flourish. Here's Cian Lynch now. Lynch had no marker. He had initially got no ball, but now he's got a point.
Yeah, when they get the ball in there, there's huge danger inside. Obviously, O'Connor and Gillan. And Lynch there picking up the pieces. But getting the ball in there in the last 6 or 7 minutes has been the issue for Limerick.
Dublin by 15 points to 12. 3 Limerick men around as the ball dropped near one Dublin player, Diarmuid Burns. Burns pucking into the breeze. He's looking anxiously after that, and he knew from the minute he hit it, it wasn't going to come back in. Not easy from a huge distance out. 2 minutes of additional time. We're nearly at the end of the first one. Conor Burke. I'd love to see how many times he's had the ball in the first half, because it's been a huge amount. Ronan Hayes has caused Limerick a huge amount of problems. They have to repeat the dose for the second 35 minutes. So does Brian Hayes. Fergal Whiteley, that came over his shoulder. Will O'Donoghue just pulled on that. Here is Kyle Hayes. Hayes goes to ground. It's a free to Limerick.
Yeah, Hayes got a nudge in the back there. I'd expect there'd be a significant amount of added time here as well. The injuries that we've had in the first half. But Dublin will be happy enough, I'd say, now if they could blow up half-time. They seem to have lost that little bit of momentum. Limerick are starting to get the ball inside. Hayes is catching a few puck outs, starting to punch through.
Dublin have done so many things right in the first half. Barry Nash with the free. This should be the last action of the opening half here in Croke Park. Limerick's first quarter-final since 2018. And the referee calls a halt before that gets a touch messy. And ball back in play. You would imagine the crowd will be even bigger when the second half starts, with more people coming in for the Dublin-Cork football match. And the ball is tucked away, and at half-time, well, what a first half. The big talking point, of course, the Chris Crummy red card. Dublin rallied brilliantly, and both teams getting a huge reception, but particularly the Dublin team as they leave the field at half-time. At the break here in Croke Park, Dublin lead Limerick as Neil O'Callaghan seeks clarification from referee Liam Gordon as the two teams head in at half-time. You can imagine he's chatting about the Chris Crummy red card. The panel will chat about that very shortly. There's the half-time score. We've got analysis coming up from Joanne in Limerick very shortly.
Lash of the ash. Not as fun when you're on the other side of the hurley, let me tell you.
Where there's hurling, there's Centra.
Gaelic football is like holding a mirror up to the Irish temperament.
The league has put in place opportunities, and that opens up a door for the Irish to come over and play some football.
This is what I was born to do.
Ireland have won a series in New Zealand. You're as good as them. You have to believe that. Now, come on. Liam, I'm on the move.
So what's new? How are you?
What? Who's that? It's Liam. Go on. There's your mother. She's back for walking these days. She's got the pedometer and everything, you know.
And how are you, Dad?
Ah, we're flying it, sure.
But how are you holding up?
Get you.
Dad?
One sec now. What did you say?
I was just saying, how are you?
Sure, you know yourself.
Yeah.
Stay connected with 3, Ireland's best network.
The Harvey Norman Big Sale is now on, with gift card deals on LG TVs. Get a €150 Harvey Norman gift card with the 55-inch LG OLED TV with exceptional clarity for every play for $1,149. Or go bigger with the 65-inch TV for a truly immersive experience for $1,699, plus a €200 Harvey Norman gift card. And with our best price guarantee, why shop anywhere else? But hurry, the Harvey Norman Big Sale must end soon.
Go! Ready for a new hair colour? Find your shade with Schwarzkopf Live. Easy to apply, vibrant colours for a look that's so you. Have a pink moment, step into your blonde era, or ignite your red. Own your vibe and go colour like no other with Schwarzkopf Live.
You might think you know Ireland's hidden heartlands, but maybe it's time for a closer look. To chart your own course through sparkling still waters, where adventure waits amongst the treetops, and on foot over ancient trails, to chance upon charming towns and drift with the flow of this land. Keep discovering Ireland's hidden heartlands.
It's 252 time at Hyundai dealerships nationwide. Featuring the all-new 7-seater Santa Fe, Women's World Car of the Year 2025. And discover why Ireland loves the best-selling Tucson and award-winning Kona. It's 252 time at Hyundai. See more at Hyundai.ie.
Il Moretti Zero. Enjoy life's simple pleasures anytime.
Ayr, proud sponsors of the GAA Hurling All-Ireland Senior Championship.
Minutes into their All-Ireland quarter-final, Dublin 2 points down when they lose their captain Chris Comery to a red card. But then, with only 14 men on the pitch, they went on to outscore Limerick by 10 points to 5. Even still, at the half-time whistle, their boss, Neil O'Callaghan, not a happy man. That's despite the fact that his team do in fact lead Limerick by 15 points to 12 at the break. And look at that spread of scores as well. And Limerick won't be too happy with some of the stats either, especially on their own puckouts. We know Nicky Quaid's so often so successful with them, but they are only 47% on long puckouts from that opening half. Let's just get straight to the main talking point, Donal Óg. Red card or not?
Yeah, outside of Dublin being very good in the first half. Of course, this was a big point. I always worry when I see a player going down to pick up the ball the way the game is, but there's no question here. Chris Crummy, captain, he was asking for trouble in that situation. So no question, red card in my opinion.
He knew it himself just after when he pulled back in his hand and just went, oh.
Yeah, and it was kind of coming from the Limerick puck out. They were so dominant at the start, and he was just, I suppose he was that bit late to the puck out. Hegarty got there before him, and it was that kind of, I need to drive into him really tight, and then mistimed it, and yeah, it was just unfortunate.
And this was after Dublin had opened reasonably strongly, but they had hit all these wides, and then they lose their captain to this red card, and yet they seem to just get stronger after that.
Yeah, it's funny when you lose a man. Maybe it's a psychological thing or something. Players feel that they have to maybe work a little bit harder because they were standing off, as John was saying, they were standing off on all those puckouts early on, and Limerick were well on top, and you thought like Limerick were going to push on, but in fairness to them, they've stuck to their plan. They seem to be kind of man on man around their half back line, but their half forward line is working really hard, and Sean Curry especially on the left wing, he's out in Barry Nash and he's asking a lot of questions of him. Like, Barry Nash has conceded 4 frees already, but here Whiteley as well popping over scores, Rian McBride is popping a few scores, Ronan Hayes is coming out from his full forward position out to maybe centre forward, kind of wing forward. He's coming out and he's getting on a lot of ball and asking questions, and they're not leaving anybody really free. And
no, we just talked about that, myself and Joe, that Limerick would be a very much a zone defence type team. So when they've got the extra man now, they all seem to be still playing zonally, and a lot of the shots you can see them, there's Limerick lads, 2 or 3 lads just kind of standing off the men instead of putting more kind of contact on. So something that they really have to address at half time.
Why is it that we can't? I know what John is saying in relation to that, why we can't see the spare man, but it still seems bizarre that all these men in this pitch who've won all these All-Irelands can't seem to isolate somebody when they have an extra player.
When you're playing zonal, because Dublin are moving around a lot, they're not going man on man. So when you go man on man, you allow one player to be on his own so everybody else can push really tight. So when you still have a zonal defence of 6 defenders, whoever comes into your space you're taking. So there's always going to be a spare man at different times.
Would you not talk about this and say, in the event that this happens, this is what we do? Yeah,
they'll have worked through it, man. I think we're missing the key. The biggest point here is Dublin are a better team. Dublin are a better team in the first half, well ahead of Limerick in this. They're hungrier, they look better organised. Back to the points the lads are making correctly. Their hurling is better, their use of possession is better, their productivity is better. So, like, it's actually one of the best halves I've seen Dublin playing in a very long time. Maybe it's something psychological that's after happening, that they're after saying, right, we're going to go for this now, whatever happens. But I don't think so. I think they deserve great praise, because many teams, how many teams, we all thought it. When we saw the sending off, we've said, oh, this is the end of Dublin now. But no, fair play to them. And I tell you, they'll need to, the one thing about it is, yes, it's an outstanding half by them, the best I've seen them playing in a long time. They're going to need to up it now in the second half, because you can imagine what's been said inside the Limerick dressing room at half time.
Absolutely. And unlike here in Limerick, where the rain has come out, there looks to still be searing heat down in Croke Park, and Dublin do still have a man fewer for the entire second half.
It's all heating up now.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Gaelic amateur classes.
There's 1,000 clubs within 3 years.
All could join the GAA and play the game. It was an idea whose time had come.
Hell for Leather, Monday at 9:35 on RTE1 and RTE Player.
Yeah, broken down in the middle of nowhere.
No, we'll miss the whole party.
Yeah, look, there's nothing we can actually do about it, so...
Genius here, forgot to put petrol in the car.
Classic Dad.
You're welcome.
Tow truck guy said 4 hours.
If we're lucky.
I know they're going to hate us. Oh, no. There's nothing we can do. Oh, look, a tractor.
Good food, good mood. From Aldi.
Now that Sky Mobile is in Ireland, everyone can expect more.
Joy? Latte for Joy?
Let's run it by the one person who expects more than anyone.
Well, get on with this.
Enjoy.
All right, Roy, how about this? Enjoy 99% 4G coverage with unlimited data, calls and texts to all networks for just €15 a month. Yep, just €15.
That's not bad, in fairness.
See, now everyone can expect more with Sky Mobile.
I always said it wouldn't change me, and it hasn't. Winning the lotto was amazing, but you can never forget who you are. The values you have don't just disappear.
William, do you want anything from the car?
Yeah, well, it was 7 million. Got to share the love, don't you?
The National Lottery. It could be you.
From the moment you start saving, it feels good.
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
For over 100 years, Ireland's state savings has helped people to save. With as little as they like, for as long as they want. Ireland State Savings. It's a good feeling.
Grab half-price broadband in the Virgin Media Playhouse. For this month only, all our broadband speeds are half price. That's lightning fast connection from just €35 a month, locked in for 12 months with no activation fee. Why wait? Enjoy speeds from 500 megs to 5 gigs right now, all for half price. Available nationwide. See virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media. It's playtime.
All right, team, we've got less than 4 minutes before she gets her car insurance quotes. Brendan, you're up for the web chat if she wants assistance.
I wonder what kind of car she's going to get.
Focus, Brendan, focus. Brent, it's for you.
On it.
RedClick. Insurance that just clicks. Save an average of €245 when you quote online.
Lash of the ash. Not as fun when you're on the other side of the hurley, let me tell you.
Where there's hurling, there's Centra.
We have the second All-Ireland quarter-final coming up a little bit later as well. Galway against Tipperary. They are always close regardless of how they're playing. That's underway at 6:15, and Damien has highlights of all of today's hurling, but also quarter-final football action coming up as well from 9:30. But we're awaiting this fascinating second half in Croke Park between 14-man Dublin and Limerick. What are you expecting to happen then in the second half?
It's hard to know.
It really is.
Yeah, Dublin have been outstanding since the sending off. Just taking out such great shots from long range and really just being inspirational. Really, I suppose it's a big game for Dublin because they've been in a number of quarterfinals the last number of years, and I suppose after the Munster final, it was hard to know what kind of Limerick would come, and it was something new, and they certainly haven't shown their true qualities. Isn't
this really interesting, though, when it comes to the two men so much is spoken about? Because you've got John Kyle and Paul Kinnerk there, and everybody agrees that they are this brains trust of hurling. They were questioned in last year's All-Ireland semi-final that they didn't make moves quickly enough, particularly in relation to how Kyle Hayles was taken out of the game. Now they get a chance to prove the mettle and change things around. What do you think they might do?
I think they'll ask questions about the work rate. I think we haven't seen the Limerick hunting in packs. Now, maybe they're not allowed to do that because Dublin are moving the ball quite quickly, but at the same time, Will O'Donoghue hasn't really... You normally associate him with hitting tackles, getting in lads' faces. Adam English, Garrett Hegarty, Tom Morrissey, Cian Lynch, they're not coming back out the field a lot. So I think they'll actually compress their own back line a little bit more, which sounds funny when you're playing with 15 on 14, but I think they'll go back, run the ball a little bit more, and then hit ball in. Because I've seen this before where they haven't been on top in the first half and they've all funneled back into their half back line, even their full back line, and run it out through.
Hayes, Lynch, they're the key people. I think they're not going to change any of those. I think from a Dublin point of view, they've done excellent. The one, I suppose, from a hurling point of view, we all hope Dublin are going to keep this going in the second half. The one thing is they have a pattern over all the games that we've seen them so far. Dublin, in some of the games this year, they've played an outstanding half. The problem is, overall, in the 70 minutes, most of the time, they've been mediocre. This is the challenge for them now, to keep things going like that first half.
You can see that they're really, really up for this as well. Chris Crummey, he may not be playing in the second half. He was there trying to get everybody ready for it. John Heatherton comes in, so that gives us some idea of what Dublin are likely to do in this half.
Yeah, and you can be sure, Joanne, like 14 against 15, there is pressure on. It is harder to play against those 15. Dublin are going to need the bench here now to keep that going and keep the pressure on.
And less running, presumably.
I think they're going to go route one, yeah, because if he's in the square, and there's a little bit of a breeze against him as well, so if they go route one, get the breaks off him, they could still cause a bit of trouble, yeah. Which is a little bit different than what they were doing in the first half. They were taking a lot of shots from 65, 45 yards out and asking questions of the Limerick half-back line to push out on top of them, which they didn't do. So yeah, it could be a little bit of a different tactics for Dublin.
And it's Diarmuid O'Dooling, by the way, whom Heatherton is coming in for in this second half. So we've seen Dublin already this year. They do know how to find the back of the net, John.
Yeah, they do. I think they've scored as a three goals in 4 out of the 5 games. So yes, they'll probably need a goal or two to to really finish this game out. But yeah, look, they've been flying so far. So and bringing in the sub-in now, it's going to make a massive difference going into the second half.
It's going to be fascinating to see what these two teams could do in this second half. It is Dublin who are ahead, but it's also Dublin who have one less player on the pitch. Let's head back over to Brendan and Darren.
Thank you, Joanne. John Heatherton is on for Dublin from the start of the second half. The St. Vincent's man has scored 2-5 in the championship so far. I don't remember any goal-scoring chances for either team in the first half, but maybe that will change. And Limerick have brought Barry Murphy on for Mike Casey, and Cathal O'Neill is on permanently now with Tom Morrissey going the other way. So you're up to date on the way the two teams line up as the second half gets underway. Dublin lead by 3, 15 points to 12. Limerick will have the wind at their backs. Here's Cian Lynch, and again it was Conor Burke who was slightly unlucky. Sometimes you need more than luck when you're trying to mark Cian Lynch, and that's brilliant from Paddy Doyle. Wonderful turnover from Doyle. Sean Curry playing like a centre-back at the moment. The Dublin forwards all lined up. Here's Heatherton, catches the first one, and Heatherton dropped it. He was been very tightly marked, but that'll do his confidence the world of good. He's brilliant in the air, and give him an inch in front of goal and he will score. But Dublin that one has gone wide. Well, no, we're going to go Hawkeye. There was no signal from the umpire to say that it was definitively wide. I thought when Nicky Quaid got on with it straight away that it had been called as wide, but that would be in Nicky's best interest, of course, and you wouldn't blame him for that. So here's Hawkeye. Tá O'Neill. And that is wide.
Yeah, just careless use of the ball as well, Darren. Just the start of the second half, you want to set a tone that we're going to be careful with it. Cian Lynch just floats one across the pitch there to be intercepted.
Dublin were waiting on the pitch for about 2 minutes for Limerick to come back out. Conor McHugh had some big moments in the first half, some really good attacking moments. That's Brian Hayes, who was outstanding all the way through, and they opened up space in front of John Heatherton. Heatherton has Dan Morrissey there, turns back onto his left, and that's wide.
Yeah, the 27 shots in the first half, 2 more early on now.
7 more than Limerick did. Dan Morrissey. Adam English. It's away from Brian Hayes, and now Kyle Hayes on his bike. That's outstanding from Fergal Whiteley. Perfectly timed, textbook from the Dublin centre forward, and now it's Conor Burke. Scored 3 in the first half, and now he's made it 4. What a game this fella's having.
Yeah, and the way Hayes went up the pitch there, it kind of summed up the way Limerick are playing. He nonchalantly went up the pitch thinking Limerick were going to get out of their way, and they didn't. And when they got the ball to Burke like that, like we saw in the first half, he hit it over the bar.
That is Garrod Hegarty, and that is wide. In the last 11 minutes of the first half, Limerick scored 2 points. Dublin had 6 in that time.
Yeah, and inside there now is Barry Murphy, who's the spare inside the edge of the D.
So Sean Brennan has still got a huge distance on that. There was a slight nudge from Hayes, but Dublin win the ball off their own puck out. They are going to have to gamble. Will O'Donoghue just lost where the ball was. Brilliant from Sean Curry. So many of these Dublin players are playing some of their best games for their county. That's Brian Hayes. Slipped for the second time, and Hayes has scored. They've created more chances at the start of the second half. Missed a couple, but now scored a couple. So Limerick on the attack. Gillan. 17 points to 12. Dublin with a man less leads Limerick. Aidan O'Connor using his strength. Gillan was out there to help him. Cian Lynch, the captain, and they've been cut open here. Cathal O'Neill got it in the second attempt. Brennan's out there with him. That's going to be a penalty. Or is it a free in? It's right on the line. The referee signalled a free in.
Yeah, he signalled a free in there, just on the edge of it. It was an arm over the shoulder there. Look at the space Cathal O'Neill has inside there. And first to the scrambling defence in Dublin, see the arm over. We're bordering on pull down there as well. Big questions asked by the Limerick management. You can see there the 2 arms wrapped around. He tried to get him out of the way. It was a goal scoring opportunity. There's a conversation going on side there with Cian Lynch as well.
Yellow card for John Bellew, the Dublin cornerback. So you would imagine Aaron Gillan will just tuck this over. Dublin have extra cover behind Sean Brennan, so that's their first point of the second half.
Yeah, well, at the moment, you'd have to say up until this point, Dublin look like they want to win this more than Limerick do, and Limerick are going to have to snap out of it, because Dublin are in a great rhythm here.
Not always possible to do that just in any sport, turn it on and off like a tap. That's down on top of Barry Nash. Went away from him. Ronan Hayes was there, but that is Sean Finn. Again, there's Dublin pressure on the ball and a turnover, and Brian Hayes just pulled on that literally. Heatherton is in underneath it with Morrissey. Heatherton got a touch. There is help there for Limerick, but Heatherton is causing consternation. Huge strength he has. The ball comes back out to Kyle Hayes. Heatherton still going like a human wrecking ball at the minute. Now Fergal Whiteley in, and that's an absolute mess down there, and that suits Dublin down to the ground. And the referee going to throw the ball in to restart the game. But John Heatherton, you can feel it, and it's not just off me. He's causing panic in the Limerick defence when the ball goes in high. Adam English. Cian Lynch, just the ball wouldn't pop into his hand. It did there. He was able to use the stick. Advantage play. The Dublin players, they're in the faces of the Limerick players all the time.
Yeah, they're really brave. They're pushed up. Here's the ball inside now. They're one-on-one. He's not letting it go. St. Hegarty hit it from the wrong spot. Right away, the passion that Dublin are playing with here is really, really good. And Heatherton inside on the edge of the square then. Talking about the bear on the edge of the square. He's it himself and Morrissey having a right angle in there, and so far he's had the better of it.
The bear on the edge of the square, I think that could stick.
Oh, I tell you. Like, it's just great. If you're one of the Dublin players out there now and you're getting a little bit tired, you're just need to get in on top of John inside there now, and he's going to cause chaos and give us a break out around the pit, middle of the pitch.
Dermot Burns. A long way out, the wind helping. It's central enough, and Burns has put that wide. Four between them. Sean Brennan with the restart. 2009 was the last time Limerick beat Dublin in the championship. They don't meet very often today, just the 6th meeting. The first was back in 1934. It was an All-Ireland final, which Limerick eventually won. Paddy Doyle from Naomh Barrogue. Barry Nash came at him very quickly. Colin O'Neill couldn't pick. He'll get a second go, and they've opened a bit of a gap here. Garrod Hegarty. Hegarty on the 65. Loves that. He didn't even see it go between the posts. He knew from the moment he struck it.
Yeah, it's instinctive from Hegarty there, all right. Just gets the chances. The one man you'd want there for getting that opportunity.
So Conor McHugh, he's all action, isn't he? And he's leaving Garrod Hegarty behind him. Brilliant run forward from Conor McHugh, the Nafian man. He's going to have a go, and he was hooked. Dermot Burns got the stick in, and the ball has gone wide.
Yeah, well done, Dermot Burns there. McHugh, in fairness to Hegarty, McHugh was really, really fast, and he has the legs on Hegarty, all right, but he's helped out by his colleagues there. Burns, great hook, and they're turned over again.
Heatherton was in on Sean Finn. Now it's come out to Sean Curry. They've had a couple of bad wides at the start of the second half, and there's another one. That's 3 of them.
Dublin are actually down to 13 now because McHugh is up, getting attention.
Yeah, he was hurt as Dermot Burns made the challenge to stop him getting the shot away cleanly. Aidan O'Connor juggling with it. O'Connor, better angle. That was a block from John Bellew. It's gone out for a 65. Bellew has had some game, and Dermot Burns is coming forward to take the 65. That miss from the last free, albeit from a much further position out. No, it's Gillan actually. Burns will take them from further out. And he's got some tune out of this team. Remember, it's his first year in charge of the Dublin Hurlers. Managed Nafiana to that historic All-Ireland club success earlier on in the year, beating Sarsfields of Cork. So they've both scored 2 points at the start of the second half. Aaron Gallan with Limerick's third of the second half, and they edged closer in the 45th minute. That's a loose one. Will O'Donoghue driving it down. It missed Garrod Hegarty. They can't make it stick. And Dublin under pressure, but dealing with it. Oh, and that's a challenge on Conor Burke. And the referee wants a word with Garrod Hegarty.
Yeah,
don't book us out.
Yeah, and another yellow card like we saw earlier. But that's what Limerick need to do, or Dublin need to do. Get the ball, needs to be brave. In fairness there to Sean Brennan, just got caught on the puck out, but they need to try to run the ball out. Keep trying to run Limerick. And they'll get joy, they'll get drawing frees like that.
Well, the referee, Liam Gordon, has been consistent on it all the way through. Players taking or getting the ball back in play too quickly. Well, that suits Limerick as they are able to reset their defence.
And if this drops short as well, but John Heatherton inside the edge of the square against the breeze.
Well, I mentioned at the start of the day all the goals that Dublin had scored. 3 in their each of their last 5 games. Heatherton has got 2 of them. Ronan Hayes a serious goal threat too, but it's going to have to be a good effort to get past Sean Finn and company. Dermot Burns put under huge pressure, but he stayed calm. Referee is playing an advantage. Burns is on the ground. Barry Nash left the ball after him. We're going to go back for a free on the Limerick end line.
Yeah, there'll be a yellow card inside there. Burns is hit square in the chest with a shoulder just as he had released the ball. It was late.
So it's a yellow for John Heatherton.
See it here now. Burns lets it go. Heatherton comes in. Again, this is the Garrod Hegarty one.
Yeah, on Conor Burke.
It's just high, but so Conor Burke and his colleagues will have to do is keep running it, keep drawing frees like that.
Keep being direct as they can. Fergal Whiteley lost that. Cathal O'Neill makes space so well, and that was brilliant from Brian Hayes behind him. O'Neill will get another go as he's forced over to the sideline and he's forced to give the ball away. Sean Curry, open road in front of him. Heatherton is waiting inside. Curry decides to take it on himself, and Curry scores.
Cathal O'Neill, not too dissimilar from that Munster final when the hook was on. Look, there's a man inside, a yellow helmet to the top right of your screen there. Never saw it, the flick back was too far, and fairness to Curry, punished it this time.
Dublin's first score in about 9 minutes. That was nice from Paddy Smith. He hurls with Clontarf. Sean Brennan. So Adam English actually made a dart towards Brennan to try and put him under some pressure. Heatherton arriving, but Sean Finn is catching. And then the challenge was high from Ronan Hayes, so it's a free out, but Limerick been given nothing handy at all.
Yeah, Heatherton was coming there like a freight train. He's lucky that Sean Finn caught the ball and ducked out of the way, or he probably could have been in second yellow territory. In fairness to the Dublin forwards, they're absolutely busting themselves to stop the ball from coming out, but sometimes they foul.
Burns with the free on the football 40-metre arc. Nice from Sean Brennan. And look at the space that Rian McBride has. McBride from one Vincent's man towards another. Heatherton, left hand goes up, can't make it stick. There's a balancing act as well, isn't there, between launching the ball in long all the time. Cathal O'Neill over towards Garrod Hegarty. He's brilliant in the air, hops up nicely for Aidan O'Connor, and O'Connor scores a beauty.
Great score from Aidan O'Connor there. Just he got in behind Hegarty there. Ferguson got a good strike on it between the posts.
So Sean Brennan just tying up the bootlace.
He's right to slow it down now a small bit down there. Sean Brennan rises the other lace, doesn't come open as well. He's just taking the heat out of it as best he can.
Anything to win. So Ronan Hayes in underneath that. That is Cian O'Sullivan. Sean Curry, here's a goal scoring opportunity. Rian McBride, oh, that was a big moment. That was a big moment for both teams.
It is, after all the work, you get him 1v1 inside. Just one more flick in. If Dublin don't end up getting across the line here tonight, a lot of them down there will find it hard to sleep. They've had huge opportunities there.
That run from Aidan O'Connor, he stayed in play. He ran from in to out, and Aidan O'Connor has the eye in certainly at the start of the second half. That's another corker of a score.
That's just an unbelievable score from Aidan O'Connor out there. But again, Dublin will be saying to themselves, look, we just need to break a bit of Limerick momentum. There's still chances when they run at Limerick, as we saw there in the last minute or so.
Sean Brennan for Fergal Whiteley. Whiteley and Will O'Donoghue in after it. Barry Murphy there too. Limerick come out with the ball. This is the time in the game where you expect them to head for that higher gear. Dublin haven't let them. Cian Lynch. Limerick are still behind. Lynch is surrounded, has support from Adam English. And English decides to have a go. And if you give Limerick space, they might be giving up goal-scoring chances, but they can score from anywhere and everywhere. The teams are level for the 8th time.
Yeah, that's the Limerick of old, right out on the sideline. And here now, Declan Hannon is coming in. Barry Nash, I think, is the one departing the scene. Kyle Hayes looks like he's drifting over to the wing-back position. Big moments here now for Dublin. They have to secure possession on this puck out somehow.
Declan Hannon was around in 2015 as well for that Dublin game, which they lost. The wind is getting up a bit. Limerick have it at their backs, but you wouldn't think so at the moment. Brian Hayes, it ran away from him. Adam English is the tide starting to turn. English punches the air in delight, and Limerick have gone in front. 4 points without reply. They lead in the 51st minute.
Yeah, it's a trademark of Limerick around that middle third of the pitch, that they get the shots away, they go over the bar. But Aidan O'Connor on the sideline, Adam English the sideline, Adam there again down the middle, you can see. Starting to find their feet down there.
And Sean Brennan now going for the other side, still going with the long puck out, and Dublin have got it. Cian O'Sullivan dispossessed, Cathal O'Neill. Diarmaid Burns just caressing the ball forward. Here's Garrod Hegarty, and Hegarty turns, shoots, and misses. That's 9 wides in total. Conal O'Ryan on wearing number 26. Fergal Whiteley can give no more. Now here is Ronan Hayes. Is there another goal-scoring chance in Dublin? Hayes is brilliant at this. He just keeps going and going. Now out to Cian O'Sullivan, can move it on one more. Hegarty, goal! What a stunning strike! They're going to need goals if they're to win this. That seemed almost impossible. It's brilliant from John Heatherton.
Yeah, run at him again. Heatherton was the man on the spot, on the spin up into the top right-hand corner. Look at this. Oh, right into the stanchion. They created absolutely no chance. Another great catch. Here come the Dubs again.
Galan is down on the ground just when you expected Limerick to gain in strength and Dublin to start to wilt. Heatherton puts the hand up again. There's another chance for them. A goal again. Cian O'Sullivan. 2 in the space of a minute. What is happening here? 14-man Dublin lead. 2-18 to 19.
Yeah, Limerick were sleeping walk through this now. Dublin have suddenly found their feet again. Heatherton was the man. He's causing wicked hassle in there. The boys are working around him. It's been a slight delay here now in the play as well, which will suit Dublin. What an unbelievable finish. Dublin have something really to hold on to here now.
And listen to the atmosphere now.
And as well, Darragh, it's fair to say it's been no fluke. Dublin have missed the butcher the goal chance. They've had a couple of wides there in the second half. The scoreboard really does reflect now where they're at in this game.
And they are playing with a player less. They have done so since the 15th minute of the first half. Yellow for Cathal O'Neill, yellow for Conor McHugh. Here's the Limerick reply. There's still an awful long way to go. We're in the final quarter now. Aaron Galan pops it back to Cathal O'Neill. O'Neill, there's the response. And you know what, that is bad.
Yeah, really composed from Cathal O'Neill there. They need plenty more of that, and whatever about hitting it over the bar, they'll need more work rate around the middle third of the pitch to create more opportunity. Dublin at the moment are just pushing that bit harder in that area of the pitch.
Dermot Burns wasn't allowed to catch that. Well, Ronan Hayes.
Yeah, fairness.
The Dublin bench are livid. That was right in front of them.
It was. Niall Callaghan saying he got the ball before the follow-through came down the top of Dermot Burns' head. Need to see it again, maybe. But he's just saying the follow-through, and it's just a tap on the head with the hurley. It'll be a yellow card for Ronan Hayes.
So, a booking for Ronan Hayes. And well, it's interesting that Aaron Gillan has come all the way out here to take this. Not Dermot Burns. Aaron Gillan on its way. He likes it, and that's why.
You need ice in the veins. He's the man. Fairness to him. But again, now it's Dublin try to retain possession here as best they can on this dropping ball.
Brennan, as he has to, continues to go long, and that came back to Kyle Hayes. Cathal O'Neill. Now it's sent long from Adam English. He's had a big second half. That wasn't one of his finer moments, but there will be others.
Big question as well now is how fit is Shane O'Brien down there. Dublin are away quickly.
They sure are. Conor McHugh, he fancies another run. Off he goes. Gets away from Gillan. They pick their way up the field. Rian McBride. McBride got 2 in the first half. That one is missed.
Yeah, every time they run at Limerick, they're creating opportunities. Hegarty there couldn't get the legs on to chase after him. It's a poor miss now.
That's Scarrode Hegarty. Dermot Burns. Burns right on halfway. Didn't catch that one. Cushioned down by Sean Brennan. Dublin's Paddy Doyle pops it forward for Andrew Dunphy. He's under pressure, Andrew Dunphy. Limerick have turned it over. Don't know how they did that. Man, it's just sheer will, determination, grit. And that's a free. There was a throw ball in there. That's a free for Dublin.
Dermot Burns there just looked like a tired shot, and then Declan Hannon is in the spin cycle there. He's just hit around the place. Adam English wasn't fouled there, just got the ball away. And here just looked up and borderline, but the referee is obviously way closer. It breaks that bit of Limerick momentum again. And as predicted, they said it, there's Casey coming on here now. The Dublin supporters are filling up the stands, and they'll be looking at that scoreboard. They'll be saying we're 3 up with 13 minutes left. We've something to shout about here.
Others will be saying, where were you earlier? But whatever happens, they've missed some performance from the Dublin team to be in this position, as Brendan says, at this stage of the game. This is big for Sean Curry. Could be even bigger if it drops short, but Curry is going for the point himself, and he's put that one wide. So Peter Casey.
It's Will O'Donoghue again.
Will O'Donoghue, yeah.
Part of the scene. Didn't really influence the game today either.
Casey trying to get into it straight away, but Will O'Donoghue hadn't left the field of play or crossed the sideline, so the puck out will have to be retaken. Dan Morris. The road, Hegarty, challenged by Cian O'Sullivan, and O'Sullivan couldn't close him down, and that is wide. Some of the shooting from both teams, well, look, the wind is difficult. The wind is difficult, but it's left a fair bit to be desired. Sean Brennan. Oh, what a catch over there from Ronan Hayes, and he's gone in towards Heatherton. Morrissey was out in front of him, but Heatherton just not making it easy for him at all. He's fouled him, and he needs to be careful, but look, he's got to play on the edge and try and make it as tricky as possible for Dan Morrissey, which he did.
He did. He didn't let the ball out handy anyway. That's one thing for sure, and allows his defenders then to set up back here again for this long free.
From Nicky Quaid. Casey put the hand up after that. Brian Hayes is still running and running and running. John Kiley thought there was a foul in there. Cathal O'Neill has turned the ball over, and then O'Neill hits the deck. Hayes is still at him, and O'Neill gets it back again. That was superb. It's gone over the head of Declan Hannon. The pass was poor, and here come Dublin with Ronan Hayes. Hayes hopping off Declan Hannon, spins back around. Hayes with the point into Hill 16. They respond again somehow. Ronan Hayes, the ball is back in play. Limerick want to keep it as high as they possibly can tempo-wise. That Dublin defence, well, they were holding firm, but Peter Casey has taken it off them. Adam English for Limerick, bearing down on goal. They have a goal-scoring chance. Galan, what a stop! That is unbelievable. It's gone over for a point. But Sean Brennan stopped what looked like a certain goal.
Well done, Sean Brennan down there. He stayed nice and big and strong here. You can see it's a great pass from English right into Galan. You think it's a goal, but he got it. I think it's a hurler. He's back on it. I'm not too sure. His hand is the hurley on it to tap it over the bar. Inspirational for Sean Brennan down there. And you can see Galan in the back of the shot there. Hands in his head. He can't believe it.
What a compelling contest inside the last 10 minutes. Most thought this would be tough initially, but in the end, a routine win for Limerick. It's been anything but. 3 points between them. Dublin with 2 goals in the space of a minute. Aaron Galan. Oh, Peter Casey gets there with Paddy Doyle on the ground, and that's a foul by Paddy Smith, according to referee Liam Gordon. And Galan will have a chance to bring it back to 2 again.
Yeah, I think it's the flick Paddy Doyle gave before, and I think is maybe where he's given it. That's the one he gave the free for. You see, it wasn't a free there. It was for Paddy Doyle's one. But interesting as well, we talk all the time about Limerick and about Kyle Hayes has to be a centre-back. When the pressure was at its most, Kyle Hayes actually ended up wing-back now with Declan Hannon going to 6. It's usual enough decision.
Aaron Galan from Patrick's Well. Lovely strike, really good point. Limerick have got 4 out of the last 5 points in the game. That is Cian O'Sullivan. That was a little tricky, but dealt with. Paddy Smith, Conal O'Rian. And now look at all the space right down the middle for Conor Burke. And he's had one of the games of his career in a Dublin jersey.
Yeah, Declan Hannon has struggled in around the middle there. He could drive a bus down to the middle of the pitch.
5 points for Conor Burke. Here come Limerick with Adam English from Doon. Brian Hayes is behind him. English has to check, but Hayes was tight to him. And that's gone up in the air. The referee is playing an advantage. This will be a point for Aaron Galan.
Yeah, Brian Hayes ended up actually on the wrong side of Adam English. He tackled the Hogan stand side rather than stay on goal side there. Not the end of the world just to concede a point.
So Aaron Galan in the 63rd minute scores. That is Limerick's 5th point from a free in the second half. All of Dublin's scores, the 2 goals obviously do help considerably, but all of Dublin's scores in the second half have been from play. Donal Burke from the Fianna is coming on wearing number 17, and you just wonder how fit he is, how much he's got to give in the last 7 minutes of this game. He's a huge player for Dublin, and Limerick are bringing Shane O'Brien in. There he is, wearing number 19.
Some push on for Dublin now too, to have Donal Burke coming in 2 points up with maybe 8 minutes including additional time, 9 minutes left in the game. The same way with Limerick with Shane O'Brien in there. I'm surprised he hadn't been in there sooner.
So Donal Burke is on. And Graham McBride, he couldn't give any more either.
No, he put in a great shift.
So Sean Brennan a loose ball. There's just so much pressure on those Limerick defenders. I don't know how Derek Ray was in there, and now it's come back out to Sean Curry, and Curry gets the point. They just keep responding.
They do. There's unbelievable spirit down there in the Dublin players. They're getting onto the breaks, and they're really good composed then to find the next man even when they're under pressure. Curry did really well there. He's missed easier chances in this game.
7 for Curry. Cian Lynch with the catch. Support from Kyle Hayes, and Dublin will have let a big gap down the side, and Peter Casey is in. Casey turned back inside. That's going to be a free in. Now, there can't be too much doubt about that. Conor McHugh is on a yellow card. It's just going to be a free in. Initially, I thought Casey was going to get a shot away for a goal. McHugh certainly made sure that didn't happen.
Yeah, it was a swipe with the hurley more than the free is what, or than the shoulder is what Liam Gordon gave the free for. If he just went in with his shoulder, he'd have been okay, but it's the cross with the hurley was why the free was given.
So the free is converted, and it's a 2-point game again. Inside the last 5 minutes. Wow, this has been enjoyable. Sean Brennan, another long puck out. Cian Lynch gets it, and Limerick are finding gaps. Dublin, of course, have got to take risks and push on. Garrod Hegarty, and Hegarty has scored, and now they're back to within 1.
Yeah, just a restructure around the middle of the field there now for Dublin. Trying to get some of their players back closer to the goal. You see him communicating down there.
Brennan's puck out. Bomb long again, and Cian Lynch has started to come into his own. He's never far from the action. This is Cathal O'Neill, but others, particularly some of the Dublin players, have outshone him for a while. That's superb from John Bellew. Paddy Doyle. Dublin work the ball across the field. Donal Burke inside his own 65. That is a tricky one for Quaid, but that was a nice catch in front of Hill 16. He would have been aware of the noise behind him. Cathal O'Neill. It's from one end to the other. That went over Gallant's head. Then there was a stumble in there, and that was a bit of a let-off for the Dublin defence. Shane O'Brien was the furthest forward for Limerick. It's just going from one end of the field to the other. Brian Hayes. Is there another goal-scoring chance in Dublin? John Heatherton is in there. Hayes goes for it himself. The reaction of Hill 16 will tell you it's a brilliant point from Brian Hayes. Another one who's played the game of his life today.
He's had some game. He's had some game, and Dublin worked it really well. Here come Limerick now. There's no rest here.
They're on the march. And that is from Declan Hannon, and he kind of slaps the stick in frustration. He's put that one wide. Dublin by 2 in the All-Ireland quarter-final. A routine win for Limerick? No. Cian Lynch, the foul has been given. It's been anything but routine. And remember, for the majority of this match, Dublin have played with a man less.
They have, and they've worked the ball really, really well there around the back. You see Cian Lynch normally hit you in the chest, but there the arm just drifted up. The yellow card, I'm sure, for him down there. But the way Dublin have walked the ball there has been really impressive. They've run Limerick, they've gotten runners in around the back, they've caused unbelievable hassle for them, and just through sheer volume of opportunity, they've taken chances that now have them in a great position, 2 points up.
Any Dublin supporter, any Dublin player out there would have taken this position at this stage of the game. Here is Sean Curry. He's missed the odd one, but he's scored an awful lot more. He's invaluable to this team. Tucking into the breeze on his own 65, and Curry is converted. Sensational score from Sean Curry of Nafina.
What a score, and we didn't think Limerick were on the rack and under pressure. You know it now, 3 points down with just a minute and a half of normal time on the clock.
Ball back in play. No, it's not. That's too quick.
Substitution coming on there.
Yeah, Ronan Hayes. Not in a huge hurry to leave the field of play. And you can understand that if you're of the blue persuasion. So we are heading into the last minute. 4 minutes of added time, I'm told. Dublin lead by 3. Oh, what a catch that is by David Reedy. Remember him, he hasn't gone away. Options left and right. O'Neill outside him. O'Neill, a tricky angle. O'Neill, brilliant block down. Was it Paddy Doyle? They put their bodies on the line again. It's gone out for a 65.
Yeah, Dublin defence did really well, shepherding them across. O'Neill, the two defenders, throwing themselves at the ball. It's just what Dublin be doing all day long. Just real intent, real hunger to win the match. To prove the world wrong, I suppose, is what it is, because coming in here today, everyone said it was just going to be a procession. Nobody really turning up for the start of the game, but in fairness to Niall O'Callaghan and his troops down there, they're showing us what they have.
Aaron Gallant to make it a 2-point game again. Dublin were third in Leinster, didn't beat Kilkenny, didn't beat Galway, started the Leinster Championship so well, but they were fading in matches. It's Hawkeye time.
This all leads into the clock as well down there. Kills Limerick's bit of momentum, even if it's given as a point. 4 minutes.
There's confirmation of the 4 minutes. So this is tense, isn't it?
Wide.
That's wide. That's wide from Aaron Gallant. Dublin's only win in an All-Ireland quarter-final was in 2011 against Limerick. Limerick have hit 13 wides. The ball is back in play. 3.5 minutes to go. Sean Curry in after that. Possession absolutely crucial for both teams, and there's a real scrap for it, and Dublin have been really good at disrupting Limerick with these kind of hurling rucks. Morrissey, did he throw the ball? He did, and the referee was in a perfect position to call that against Dan Morrissey.
It's a real risky one in the modern game. If you hold the ball over your head to hand pass it, more often than not the referees are given a free for that. We'll see it again here now. Morrissey, the left hand up. Yeah, no separation there on that. It just seemed to catch him in his thumb and his finger. Look at again here. Yeah, he just panned the ball away. There's no separation there. Liam Gordon was right beside it.
Sean Curry taking as much time as he is allowed to. Dublin want to bring David Lucy on, but those seconds continue to tick away. 4 added minutes, remember. Sean Curry scored with his last effort, and he's done it again. And one of the biggest roars of the day from Hill 16. Dublin, when they needed it the most, have got 3 points without reply. We've just over 2 minutes to go. What a sensation this will be, but it's not over by a long way. Here is Adam English, Colin O'Neill in around the back. Conor Burke goes with him. O'Neill, very difficult, very tight spot. David Reedy. What's Reedy going to do? They're trying to walk it in now. There's still time for them, but they get the point from Peter Casey.
Well done from Colin O'Neill there. He didn't panic, he didn't pull the trigger there at the tight angle. They moved it well. Reedy again, man in a better position. How important is this puck out for Limerick's championship hopes?
And Dublin's. Dublin leading by 3. Who would have thought they'd even be in this situation? Well, all the players in blue down there. That's a great catch by Dan Morrissey. There's 3 between them. The ball squirts loose. Sean Curry was superb there just to put his body on the line. Limerick seem to have more players around the ball. They have one more player on the field, Kyle Hayes, and there's space now for Peter Casey right down the middle. Limerick trail by 3. They've lost their 2 big matches in a row, lost the Munster final on penalties. Hegarty took on the shot that came off McHugh. The ball squirts loose. Paddy Smith, it's a free in. Yeah. Smith, with little care for himself, just threw himself at the ball. The referee gives Limerick a free in. We're in the last minute of additional time.
Yeah, look, a sensible enough thing to do there to try to pull him down. It was never going to be a penalty, but Liam Gordon gave him 2 goal-scoring chances. Here's the second one coming up before he blew the whistle. Presume they'll hit this over the bar and hope they can win the next puck out.
Yellow for Brian Hayes, I think it was. I have no idea what that's about, but anyway, we can check with Liam Gordon later. There's a Dublin player lying down on the ground in the position I think the free is going to be taken, receiving treatment for cramp. Conor McHugh. And I get that actually with Conor McHugh.
He's going to have to go low here, I'd say. There, I see Diarmuid Burns coming up the pitch there. Knows it's just water he's getting or what's going on, but Gallant is in behind him.
Well,
Kylie.
Yeah. They were heartbroken with the penalties in the Munster final a few weeks ago. Galan or Dermot Burns.
Burns is the man.
Dublin have loaded the goal line. 2 players either side of Sean Brennan.
This is it.
So the 4 minutes are done. The referee will let it play on because of this stoppage. It's Dermot Burns, one of the greats of Limerick hurling. The Dublin supporters making their voices heard. Dublin lead by 3. Time is almost gone. Stopped on the line. And there's John Heatherton. Remember him playing like a fullback and belting the ball up the field. Kyle Hayes stumbling a couple of times. How much longer will the referee allow here? Adam English for Limerick. It's just hit and hope, and he's put too much into it. He's put the ball over the bar. It's a 2-point game now, but how much longer will the referee let play continue?
Dublin making another change here as well. Here's the shot. In fairness, there's so many bodies, but Dublin did really well. It was Heatherton who got on the break. It's one thing saving it. You need somebody coming back, and what an impact he's made at both ends of the pitch. John Heatherton, well done.
So it's at the referee's discretion. He's had a look at the watch. This could very well be it. Dublin have made their substitution. The referee's glanced at the watch again. Sean Brennan from Coola has had massive success with his club. The ball is still in play and the match continues. What a catch that was from Connolly Reen. And the referee has blown it up, and Dublin have beaten Limerick in the All-Ireland quarter-final. One of the stories of the year. A sensational victory for a sensational team. Very few outside of that group, even in Dublin, believed that they could do this. The story was that Limerick were just going to turn up. Dublin would put it up to them for a while and waltz away and into the semi-final. But Dublin have done it against all the odds, down to 14 players from the 15th minute when Chris Crummy was sent off, the Dublin captain. There are tears of joy, celebrations as if they've won the All-Ireland, but they've knocked out one of the big contenders. John Kiley's team beaten by Neil O'Callaghan's Dublin, his first year in charge, and this is absolutely awesome for hurling in Dublin. Nothing's won yet, there's no trophy, but they've taken a huge scalp.
Yeah, all the green jerseys below are shell-shocked, but the better team won, there's no doubt about that. The better team won with 14 men, more to the point. Well done to Dublin. Nobody would have believed outside that Dublin camp what they could do. But in fairness to Niall and his backroom team, they prepared the team brilliantly. The spirit was really, really strong. There's a couple of occasions there when they could have said it's not going to be our day, but they didn't. They kept ploughing away, and when Heatherton came on, he just changed the dynamics. Suddenly there's a goal right inside. He was that wrecking ball. I said a bear on the edge of the square, and how fitting at the end of the game that when the goal line save was made, he was the man getting on to clear it out. Well done to Dublin. Deserved winners here.
They sure are. A performance full of skill, full of grit, full of passion. A marquee win for this Dublin team. Who knows what's next? An All-Ireland semi-final is next. Dublin have beaten Limerick by 224 to 28 points in a thriller at Croke Park.
And an absolutely incredible performance from a team down to 14 men from the 15th minute. Huge thank you to Dara and to Brendan. So Neil O'Callaghan managed the Fianna to their first county final in 2021, their first Dublin League, their first championship title 2023, their first Leinster final in 2023, and to the All-Ireland title this year. And now he has managed Dublin to a famous victory over Limerick. Let's find out who's the man of the match.
And here to present the man of the match is Betty Kilkenny from Ayr, and it's to Conor Burke of Dublin. Conor, that was a most fantastic victory by your team. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, wrecked. We had to dig deep there, obviously going the man behind early in the first half. But in fairness, lads dug deep, lads up top really put themselves on the line. We had brought huge physicality, which really set the tone for what we went on to do. So look, we're delighted to obviously get into the semi-final.
History is repeating itself where you're concerned. This time last year you were man of the match against Cork in the All-Ireland quarter-final. You're man of the match in the quarter-final again. Well, this time you're going on to the semis.
Yeah, look, delighted obviously to go into the semis, and look, could be anyone standing here. The work that was put in from 1 to 15 there to get here today against Limerick, who are obviously an unbelievable team. So look, we're over the moon.
You played 55, 60 plus minutes with 14 players. You got 2 crucial goals in the second half. Your goalkeeper made a most fantastic save. Bodies were on the line. What a performance.
Yeah, look, you could pick moments like them that stand out, but like it's the hard work, it's the grind, and look, we'll enjoy it. And look, we have more netting, so we need to just keep pressing on. But it's great to be going back training on Tuesday.
Limerick, it seemed to me, played like a team where this was a means towards an All-Ireland final. For you, this was your All-Ireland final, and you won it.
Yeah, well, look, everyone always writes us off every single year, so we thrive on that, and obviously we wanted to come in and you know, have a shock here, and thankfully we did. So look, we're all passionate hurling people here, and we wouldn't be going to training 3-4 times a week if we didn't think we could go somewhere. So look, we're delighted to be progressing.
Conor, you're a very deserving man of the match. Conor Burke, St Vincent's and Dublin, the winners. Well done, Conor.
He absolutely was a very deserving man of the match, Conor Burke. But Dublin, John Conlon, he says everybody writes him off for every year. You hear players say that all the time, and usually it's not necessarily true, but it is true. Everybody has been writing them off. Nobody saw this coming. What was it built on?
Oh, just massive aggression and work rate, and you know, as you just discussed there, you know, they've had an eye on this for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and you know, massive work rate went into it. Did a savage plan and really stuck to it, and you know, it looked like they had the extra man there for a lot of that game.
That's the bit I think that's a gorgeous little shot of Neil there. I think this is what's going to stick in people's head. 15th minute, that's when Chris Crummey, they're not just any player, they're inspirational captain, their centre back sent off.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could see it. We certainly didn't. Nobody would have called this. It's a phenomenal achievement what they've done today. As you said, 15 minutes in, you'd bet your house on Limerick to push on and win the game, but in fairness to Dublin, they stuck to their plan, they carried it out, and fair play to them. They have to be very proud of what they achieved today.
Everything deserved, Joanne. Like, how many times have we seen Dublin followers drifting in to see a Dublin hurling team getting their last rites, if you believe? It's a great day. It's a great day for Dublin hurling, but it's good for hurling. Like, we've spoken about it for years. It would be brilliant to see a strong Dublin team, a full Hill 16, all there on time, supporting Dublin in an All-Ireland final would only do the game well. Having said that, talk about things that have been good for the game. There's a team there now after losing who have done as much as anybody has ever done for the game of hurling. But isn't it amazing when you get knocked off your stride, when you lose your balance, that it's hard to get back up in the horse again? And so Limerick have been outstanding champions, outstanding for the game, but delighted for Dublin.
We had a bizarre scene here in Limerick because many of the Tipperary fans in particular have come in ahead of the second All-Ireland quarter-final, and when the final whistle went up in Croke Park here in Limerick, we had this enormous cheer coming from the Gaelic grounds stands. But in that second half, it looked like Adam English, who seemed to try to pull Limerick through in that, he edged them ahead, and it was the first time in a very long time that they'd been ahead. It was around the 51st minute, and a lot of people probably thought, right, this is it, this is when they're going to twist the knife in. And yet, up popped 2 goals for Dublin in the space of a couple of minutes, and the one coming from, you said it before the match started, Route 1.
Yeah, at half time, especially when John Heatherton came on, you could see it straight away. They were more direct with their ball, but even here, Hayes running through the heart of the defence, and it's not often you see going straight through and not being checked, but what a finish. He scored one against I think it was Wexford early on the championship, a little bit the same. He just turned and buried it.
How difficult is that angle, Joe?
It's impossible. It's
nearly impossible.
No, it nearly is, but like, especially with his left side, because the angle is even cut off even more. But brilliant. And here again, like, he was just a menace. Like, Dan Morrissey doesn't get to mark too many big men, but again, Cian O'Sullivan just off the break. That's all they needed. They were trying this all year. Worked against Kilkenny late on, maybe not so much. And Paddy Smith, what an unbelievable catch as well.
And we were talking about it. John spoke so well about it before the game. Dublin Limerick got caught here defensively. They had the extra bodies inside the square. Hannon didn't track O'Reen was given that space. So even though Limerick had an extra man, it was a perfect example of that handoff, that trade-off. When do you go, when do you stay, not working perfectly.
I was surprised that they actually didn't push up, you know, and just leave one man spare and kind of go man for man, you know, not other players. But
we spoke about that at half time, as you were saying, because they're zonal, they couldn't actually.
Yeah, they couldn't get out of the system, maybe, yeah. That kind of caught
maybe
them
a little bit, but in fairness, they got back. Like, you were still feeling it as the match wore on. Limerick will come back, they'll come back, because Dublin missed a couple of chances, and they had a goal chance earlier on before that they missed, and then Limerick hit them with 2 or 3 points and just turned the game. But the save from Brennan was phenomenal as well, like, just kept them in it.
You say game changer. There looked to be a few game changers in that final sort of 15 minutes, and did it all start with that save?
Well, look, I suppose the 2 goals kind of turned the game on its head, but that save was just, you know, I think here we roared, we thought it hit his body, but he actually got his hurley to it, like, and it was a super shot by Aaron, and, you know, like, they're moments that win all your games. But from there they went on and got some great scores, like you see Brian Hayes running up the wing here, getting a long range score. You know, they're momentum builders, and, you know, as the crowd is coming in for the football, you know, they were getting more excited, and you know, it was just a fantastic.
It's funny,
result.
You said, John, at one stage when Sean Curry popped up here, here's another golden opportunity actually for Limerick to get in. And the phrase putting your body on the line is used all of the time, isn't it? Dublin literally put their bodies on the line.
Yeah, but look, that's what they had to do, and that's what, you know, they should be setting the standard like that every day. And, you know, and especially when you're going out against Limerick, you have to put your body on the line, and this catch at the end by Colin Loreen was a fantastic. He had a great game when he came on, and you know, they're the moments that win games. They're the moments that, you know, that swing games, and you know, it was just a fantastic result all round.
In the end, when you're a team who aren't used to getting across the line, and even though it's a new manager, we know what happened in last year's Leinster final when they were in Croke Park and everything went so poorly at the start, to be able to even psychologically keep it together when you're coming up against a team like Limerick who just keep threatening to come back at you.
Yeah, they obviously have a lot of trust in the system that they're playing, in the management, how they want to play. They stuck to their guns today, even after the sending off. That can sway people, but I think, as we said, we can't maybe overestimate or underestimate, I'm not too sure which is the right word, but how Limerick just kept to their zonal defence and didn't maybe go man for man and allow them to kind of maybe push on a little bit more, because as we said, it looked like Dublin actually had the spare man in their backs at times in that second half, and it's very unusual to see a Limerick team kind of sit off a little bit, especially in their forwards. I don't think they got many turnovers in the Dublin full back line or half back line even at times there.
Limerick will definitely be disappointed, we know that. We saw again examples today, we did see it. We did see examples where, you know, like Stephen Colin O'Neill came on, did loads of good things, but a couple of passes that went astray. But going back to that point about tactically, Dublin got a load of tactics right as well. From those puck outs, I was watching the behind the screen there, and even overloading the one side. So, like, and it's easy to talk, sounds simple, but obviously they spoke about, right, we're down a body now, the last thing we need to do is be caught out with more bodies, let's overload one side. So, like, whilst Limerick will question themselves, and that goal was the perfect example with Hannon, and it's not in Hannon's nature, even though we saw him up there, it's not in Hannon's nature to be a centre-back that keeps tracking. He just hasn't done it over the last couple of years. They will be disappointed when they look around and say, right, we had an extra body back here. Of course, to Joe's point, we could have pushed on, but I don't want to take anything from Dublin. It'd be wrong for today to be, oh, Limerick were off, how good they've been, or they got it tactically wrong, or whatever. This is Dublin's day, and they deserve every bit of credit they're getting.
And you said that Dublin stuck to their guns, but did they not actually alter things as the game went on, and especially given down a man down, and they changed it up obviously at half-time as well?
Yeah, they altered things at half-time, which sometimes when you're going in at half-time maybe 3 points up, it's you think, well, we stick to what's working. But in fairness to them, I don't know if it was a pre-planned move or whatever, to maybe we're doing this for the first half, second half then we're going direct.
Well, it makes more sense when you've a man fewer, does it not?
It does, and you're playing against the breeze and stuff like that, so listen,
yeah, but it doesn't though. Like,
it didn't work every time. It didn't work every time.
But in fairness to him, every time the ball went in there, John Heatherton held the ball there. You know, like Dan Morrissey was struggling every time. There was a battle going on. It was held around there. It was a throw in. It was slowing down the game. It was slowing down that momentum that Limerick were trying to build, and he just caused consternation.
And it's funny because Dan Morrissey himself, he is a big man and he's a strong man as well. But I know Donald Oak says it's Dublin saying everybody will agree with that. But when Jackie Tyrrell was on our coverage of a Waterford tip a few weeks ago, he says, has everybody just forgotten about the black card penalty in hurling? Should Limerick have had a black card and a penalty? Is it not a very clear case of exactly that?
No question, Joanne. You just ask, what's the black card about? Why was it brought in first day? Dublin, on one of the few occasions, lost their men, and like we spoke a lot about the tackles and so on before the game. There was no question here. You see here, Kyle O'Neill, he just loses his man. Dublin get drawn in. One of the few mistakes that Burke made during the day. He wasn't conscious of him behind him. Got lost. Lynch doing what Lynch does so well. Picks him out. Then Dublin are scrambling to make the cover. And no question, should have been a black card. What else? Second time I've said it, and we said it a couple of weeks ago. Why was the rule brought in at all first day?
Well, if you see there, he fully wraps his hands around him and takes him to the ground. So that's the definition of a black card.
Yeah, the black card, deliberate drag down, is one of the things that come in, and a goal scoring opportunity. So anyway, regardless, it is Dublin with an incredible performance with 14 men for most of the game, who march on to the All-Ireland semi-finals. Who's going to be joining them in the last four? On the way, one of the closest rivalries in recent championship hurling. It's a sixth quarter-final meeting between Galway and Tipperary, all since the turn of the millennium.
For sheer entertainment, it's hard to beat Tipperary Galway matches. Only a puck of the ball between them. There's still a place against Kilkenny at stake. What a goal! That's a super goal! And Galway are through to the All-Ireland hurling semi-final.
Old traditional rivalry will be reignited here in Croke Park. Still Hayes, his pass blocked first time. Oh! And marvellous goal! Galway beat Tipperary, their arch rivals, by 2 points.
The pitch in perfect condition, an ideal day for hurling. Oh, it's a great ball! On here for Seamus Coleman! And Tipperary have won the quarter-final! A game which had absolutely everything. An enormous game for both of these teams. An opportunity to score. What a goal! And Galway are through to the All-Ireland semi-finals. Tipperary bow out. Galway versus Tipperary All-Ireland quarter-final. Conor Whelan with the mix-up has scored. Terrible defending. The referee blows the whistle. Galway beat Tipperary. 2 points the margin.
Ayr, proud sponsors of the GAA Hurling All-Ireland Senior Championship.
Get ready for one of the most thrilling weekends in Irish horse racing, climaxing with one of the world's most prestigious races. The 160th running of the Irish Derby takes centre stage at Flat Racing HQ. Witness the excitement as some of the world's